has a cost even to lives. And President von der Leyen also reiterates that, of course, we stand with Spain, we stand with all the brave firefighters who are putting their lives at risk, and with all the first-hand helpers dealing with these emergencies.
Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US, after President Donald Trump declared the truce over while attending the NATO summit in Turkey this week. But he then appeared to soften his stance, saying he would allow negotiations to continue. The contradictory signals from the White House have left mediators uncertain about America's position. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
On the one hand, you had Donald Trump declaring the ceasefire was over, but also saying that he thinks talks could continue, saying that the US should finish the job, but he doesn't want to return to all-out war. And it's hard to know if this is part of his negotiating tactic to kind of put extra pressure on Tehran, or whether it is just genuinely him being frustrated one minute and then changing his mind the next.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese have signed a landmark uranium supply agreement in Melbourne, enabling Australian exports to fuel India's civilian nuclear program. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The headline has certainly been the uranium supply deal. This is something that's been in the works for more than 10 years now. And this is crucial for India because just last year in 2025, the Indian government set itself a very ambitious target of producing 100 gigawatts of clean energy using nuclear fuel. And this comes at a time when India has been pivoting hard towards sources of energy which are non-polluting, as it wants to decarbonize its industries, its power sector massively. And this is going to be hugely helpful for India, which wants to produce electricity using nuclear energy.
And the EU's threatened to fine Meta over what it says is the addictive design of its social media platforms. Meta now has the chance to respond to this preliminary investigation from the European Commission. The parent company of Facebook and Instagram says it disagrees with the findings. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, what are the prospects of the US and Cuba striking any kind of a deal over the future governance of the island? Pressure is growing as a humanitarian crisis grows across Cuba due to the significant tightening of the US economic blockade. Michael Bustamante, a leading historian of Cuban-American relations, spoke to Foreign Policy magazine.
The Cuban government has already shown a certain willingness to open their economy. They've announced reforms that, at least on paper, seem quite significant. It's on the political issues where Havana remains allergic, to put it mildly, to any kind of change. I mean, there's a deep sort of nationalist thread there that goes back decades about wanting to avoid any perception that they're ceding to the pressure of the United States. But I think one of the challenges that the Trump administration faces is that this is a government in Havana that's very used to dealing with pressure, though this pressure is unprecedented. They're very used to trying to figure out how to buy time. I mean, the Cuban government is up against the wall economically and politically. They don't have allies to the degree that they used to. No one's coming to bail them out. But the idea that there's going to be a reformer or a Delcy Rodriguez-like figure who's willing to sort of roll over on his or her superiors, that's sort of not in the DNA of a one-party state.
But President Trump wants to make something work, saying he wants to go down in history as the US president who has the honour of taking control of the island.
The main news again. At least 12 people have died in a wildfire in southern Spain. It comes as Europe's in the midst of another heatwave, after the continent recorded its hottest June on record. Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US, after President Trump declared a truce over while attending the NATO summit this week. And the EU's threatened to fine Meta over what it says is the addictive design of its social media platforms. And that's the latest Feature Story News. William Denslow reporting.
And if you thought things couldn't get more infantile and aesthetically insulting than Fergie, Kesha, or Katy Perry, then you obviously haven't met 22-year-old Karonica, the latest and most horrid, talent-bereft pop monstrosity the music industry has ever sadistically forced down the American public's collective throat. She's here with us in the studio right now.
What?
Now tell us, Karonica, how did you first decide that you wanted to be the cipher through which the cynicism of a morally bankrupt industry is channeled?
Yo, I just do what I do. Know what I'm saying? It's like people just love my ish.
Right. You are in the middle of your sold-out Damn Girl tour.
Damn Girl! That's right.
which is a heinous slap in the face to the English language, and will also travel to 47 cities, sapping the intellects of every young person along the way.
I said, damn, girl. That's right.
There's no light in your eyes, Karonica.
I got nothing to say to the haters.
I hate you.
This is the Onion News Network.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live. Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. It's talk radio you control, which means you can call and get your thoughts and opinions on the air with us. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. And in the studio tonight is Stu.
FCC will do it live. This is Riley Opel.
And Angelo.
So, haven't seen you guys for a little bit. Did you have a nice Independence Day?
Yeah, we went to the... I went to the Prickle, technically
cool.
for work, but...
How'd that turn out?
Oh, it was great. There's probably like 120, 150 people there. A whole lot of kids, a lot of porcupine children run around playing. It was fun to see like the next generation.
That sounds like a
Free
fun
Staters
event.
coming up. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Connected with some folks that I hadn't seen in a while. It was a good time.
Nice. Yep, the get-togethers out here are pretty good.
It's always nice to get together with a bunch of, independent-minded people, free staters types, and it's nice.
People who actually appreciate the idea of freedom, not just saying it while waving a flag.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's all kinds, anywhere from, little, like maybe 5 to 15 people at the social Sundays and up to, big gatherings. So that's cool. Right now, though, we're going to go to the phones. We got a caller already. It's Dave Ridley. Dave, what's on your mind?
Hey, guys. How much do you know about Jason Osborne's run for Speaker of the House in New Hampshire?
I don't watch WWE, so I don't know.
I don't know anything about it. I know he's running, so I know.
Yeah, so he is a free stater and a former advertiser on your show. And a former advertiser on my show.
I do know of Jason Osborne. He sounds like a cool dude. I just don't really get into politics.
He is cool but controversial. So there's a video of him. I guess one of the documentaries about free staters. They followed him, and I guess he showed up. This may be routine, but he showed up for his one of his days at work at the New Hampshire House. He showed up with like a bicycle gang, and he was on the head bicycle, I guess. I'm sorry, no, not bicycle, motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I was
That's
like, bicycle gang's hilarious. A bunch of
No,
old dudes on
motorcycle
mountain
gang makes a lot
bikes.
more
Trying to
sense.
get the visual in my mind of what that was like.
No, I can see a bunch of dudes who look like they should be on Harleys, but they're on mountain bikes, and they pull up 15, 20 deep down the sidewalk.
Or like beach cruisers, even better.
yeah, with the big handlebars.
Well, of course, probably wasn't a real bicycle gang, but he looked kind of like a middle class bicycle gang. Anyway, he's triggering. There's a lot of anger swirling around his run. And it's not the usual. Normally, when you poke around and see why people don't want him to run, it's like, well, free staters aren't allowed to be here, and they're not allowed to run. They shouldn't be able to. It's not like that. It's more like they're complaining about how he handles his business.
Okay.
Like his personal business, his own company?
Correct.
Okay, explain that, Dave.
Well, New Hampshire Public Radio reported that he took like loans from the feds, supposedly for the purpose of maintaining his employees during COVID, so he wouldn't have to lay anybody off.
Okay.
But then they alleged that he did a lot of layoffs.
Okay.
And I don't know what the timing exactly was, and I don't know exactly what the rules are on something like that. But he's facing a number of lawsuits.
Interesting. What's the nature of the company he runs?
It was a debt collection company, but then I think it sort of morphed into more of customer service, as I understand it. Again, this is all according to the Lapdog Press, which doesn't like people like Jason, right? And so, but that's the good thing about having him in a little bit of power is you can always rely on the press to hold him accountable.
So you said there was a recent documentary about Free Staters? Is that what I heard?
Well, wasn't that recent? It's probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. I've noticed more anti-Free Stater rhetoric just in the last couple days around Keene, believe it or not. The anti-war guys were downtown doing their thing as usual on a Saturday. And we drove by, and one of them had a sign that said, honk for resist. And on the other side it said, I can't remember exactly what it said. Something about the Free Staters, though. Something negative about the Free Staters. And a bunch of people have these yard signs that say, NH is not your free state. And it's got, like, you know, the porcupine with a circle around it and a line through it for, like, no porks. Which I think is kind of funny. Like, when I talk these, I'm convinced. And if you're one of these people listening, hate listening, please call and explain this. I'm almost certain all these people are absolute raging leftists that don't think for themselves and are just mad. They just want to be mad about something.
It's easy to be mad about something.
Because every local I actually talk to doesn't mind the Free Staters. Either that or they have no idea what that is.
By their grievances shall you know them, right? If people... I was trying to think how to put this the other day. People are just incapable of taking the win. Like somebody shows up and says, all right, my purpose in life is to reduce the number of acts of aggression that are committed against you. And you react by saying, oh, that's terrible. I want those acts of aggression. Please continue aggressing against me. Please steal my money, tax me more, take my stuff and make a list of things I'm not allowed to do and make that list 200,000 pages long, because that is how long it is right now in the United States.
It is, and it's slave-on-slave violence, essentially, or, pretty close to it. Like somebody comes in and they're going to, liberate the plantation, and all the workers on the plantation get angry about it.
Well, it's just crabs in the bucket mentality. If one starts to climb out or reach for the edge, the others have to grab his legs and rip him back down.
Yeah.
How dare you escape this slavery? You know what I mean, right? How dare you escape when we all of us are suffering? So sucks for you. You're coming back in.
Yeah.
We have worked to reduce your taxes. You're welcome.
But they don't want us reducing their taxes. They want to pay more taxes.
Yep. The more taxes we pay, the freer we are. and so on and so forth.
Anyway, we'll see how he does. The guy I'm trying to remember this. I have a history with both him and the guy he's running against. So I can't remember how to pronounce the other guy's name. But I once walked up to the other guy and I asked him a question with my camera, and he tried to tell me to turn the camera off.
That's weird.
He didn't want. Guess he didn't want to answer your question.
Yeah, it was in the lobby of the State House.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just that. I'm not surprised. It's par for the course. A politician doesn't want to be held accountable for his answer.
Yeah.
Not surprising, but I get you have history with both, but that tells me who I'm backing.
If you actually asked this other guy a question and you can't remember his name, then I bet Jason Osborne wins because his name is more likable. That's about the level of most voters, I think. About I like this name better than that name. Check. You know what I mean?
At some level, at some point, especially in New Hampshire with the 400 state reps everybody has to vote for, it probably gets to that point.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's got a cool name. I like that name.
I imagine that's about how deeply people think about voting. Because if they thought much deeper about it, they'd probably stop doing it.
In terms of policy, I'm sure a person who's more of an Osborne watcher could find more problems. But I would say that I haven't heard a lot about him taking crazy anti-freedom positions or anything like that. Normally when someone's powerful, even if they were a free stater before, or they still are, they get affected, by the Republican machine or the Democrat machine. They start voting for more and more authoritarian things. I haven't heard a lot of that. The main thing I would say, just from a policy perspective, from my knowledge, is that he's hostile toward the New Hampshire independence movement.
Interesting.
Now, hostile, maybe that's a little too strong of a word, but there are reports of him calling us names, yet I still consider him a friend. I've run into him now and then since then, and we always have a nice conversation.
Yeah.
I just, would prefer that independents were not still treated as the scary thing that it used to be treated as.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that one. That one's so deeply ingrained in the average American's mind that I don't know.
I think that's one of the normie. You're just gonna.
I like the idea. I guess I like it well enough. But if you look at Europe, it's made up of a bunch of small countries, and they just kind of did, the American thing where they, it's kind of with the EU and all of that. It's kind of the same thing. I don't know that New Hampshire would fare a lot better. They would just get sanctions put on them, right?
Well, it depends. You would have thought that Estonia would have some kind of sanctions put on it when it declared independence from Moscow, but in fact, Moscow supported the move, and they worked together for a peaceful transition. So things can change.
Yeah.
Well, was Estonia worth the squeeze? Maybe that's another. Is it worth sending soldiers into Estonia to retake it? Like what?
Good point.
What's made there? Like what is it? Was there something in Estonia that Russia couldn't live without, that Moscow could not live without?
Yeah, it's always a trade calculation.
There was actually rule over the Soviet Empire. It collapsed in Estonia first, but a little more complicated than that. Basically, Estonia first. And if they'd been able to hold Estonia, they would have probably been able to hold the other republics. But they lost that. They knew they were going to lose that struggle if they waged it, and they just chose not to wage a losing battle and let.
Well,
Estonia
exactly,
go.
but that's because Estonia was the trade-off. Like Estonia didn't have like uranium mines or something in it that Russia couldn't afford to lose, is what I'm saying. Like different than. Like right now they're trying to take back their breadbasket in Ukraine, their farmland. Something that an intangible that Russia needs to survive. I don't think Estonia had it, so I don't think New Hampshire does either. Like for the United States,
the Soviet Union sort of just ran itself out of money and wasn't able to.
Well, what $40 trillion in debt isn't running yourself out of money?
No, not if the banks.
Keep lending. Okay.
Decide they're on your side, but once they decide they're pulling the rug out from under you, you can't pay your soldiers, and they can't go and enforce your rules in Estonia, and you know it, so you're just gonna let them go.
Well, true, but even the soldiers that you could afford, they weren't thrown at Estonia because Estonia wasn't worth it. There wasn't anything economically that was like, oh, we need to hold on to Estonia. There's no like port city or it wasn't strategic. It's not like strategic land.
Yeah.
Well, it was considered strategic enough in 1939, I think, or 1940 for the Soviet Union to take it over.
Well, what is the need? Is there like a reason? I just don't know the history of Estonia. I'm just saying, like, it sounds like nothing gets made there. If they walk away, what does Russia lose?
Yeah, I mean, in 1940, what they felt they would lose was a war with the Germans. They were trying to take the territory as a strategic hedge against the Germans.
Also, just a buffer zone.
Ultimately, yeah, they wanted to spread all the way across Europe and take over the world. Ideally,
but that's super important to Russians for semi-legitimate reasons because they do keep getting invaded through these corridors.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. So Jason Osborne is running for state rep. Is he currently one?
Speaker of the House. He's running. He wants to be Speaker of the.
He wants to be Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Of the State House.
What does that person do?
He's currently the House. Currently, he's the House Majority Leader. But if he's Speaker of the House, that's the second most powerful person in the state.
Okay. So that's second to the governor.
Well, yeah, I would say just second to the governor in terms of the amount of power that he holds.
Huh.
That would be really interesting to have a free stater as a House Speaker of the House.
Yeah, what are the tools
Well-
at the discretion of the Speaker of the House? What are they going to do?
Well, the one I keep hearing about the most is the committee assignment. So, he's already. Well, no, actually, I'm not sure about that. That may be the majority and minority leaders that do that. I'm not super familiar with the exact operations of the Speaker of the House. I just know it's probably the second most important position in New Hampshire.
I do know a little bit about the governor race because Aaron Day was talking about how the John Sununu has pulled some strings in order to basically illegally block him from being on the ballot.
Oh, wow. That's a little concerning.
Yep. So I found that interesting.
Wait, who pulled strings?
John Sununu, who's the brother of, I think he's the brother of Chris Sununu, the former so-called governor of New Hampshire.
Yeah, during that time, John Sununu was sitting on the World Economic Forum.
Ooh, that's bad.
So John pulled strings to keep who off the ballot for governor?
Aaron Day.
Aaron Day.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Day is another free stater who, in the past, I believe he got Kelly Ayotte knocked out of the U.S. Senate seat.
Really?
It was his run for Senate that created a spoiler effect. At least the Republicans blamed him. They claimed that Day cost her the election. But, if she wants to win the election, he can be pro-freedom enough that there's no libertarian candidate.
Yeah.
That worked fine, or at least it was a good, that's what Benson did. It didn't work out for him. But, when there's a pro-freedom Republican, you generally don't get a libertarian on the ballot in these bigger races.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that's
Not,
that's the reason he didn't want that John Sununu doesn't want him on the ballot yet, or that's the apparent motivation.
So, but John's running for Senate right now.
It could be a spoiler vote. Is that what it is? They're running for senator? Was I confused on that? They're running in the same race.
There was a John Sununu who was senator in the 2003 era, but I don't remember if it's the same. Well, I guess it would be the same John Sununu. There's probably not two brothers Sununu named John, so it must be the same one running for his old seat.
Yeah, maybe it's the Senate race.
By the way,
I think I just talked to him tonight. This is why I'm pretty sure he's running for senator.
Talk to who?
Sununu.
Oh.
You talked to him?
Yeah.
About what?
I just said hello.
Where?
I was at a GOP thing.
What were you doing there?
Hanging out.
Why?
Well, you got to build coalitions if you want to win races, man.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess yeah. But when he was senator in the 2003 era, he was rated by the Republican Liberty Caucus, I think it was their Liberty Caucus, as the most libertarian U.S. senator, for what that's worth.
I guess we'll find out if he takes office. It just seems strange that he's not allowing Aaron Day to run.
Yeah, that's
that would be concerning.
Yeah, I think he's got lawsuits going and whatever. So yeah, it looks like it is because as of now, it's got the candidates running. And
yeah, I mean, considering his past record wasn't all that bad, if I were Aaron, I might find a different way to push for liberty, but he's got the right to run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like his I like what he says about things for the most part. He doesn't raise any red flags with me about being, authoritarian or anything like that. His idea is that the bottom up approach is not going to work because he thinks the smaller like town politics and stuff, he thinks is totally ineffective, and the best you're going to do is like decide whether or not you get lines painted on your road. And so he's going for the top. He's running up against the way they play there.
Nothing to add.
Okay. Thanks for the call tonight, Dave. We have another call. Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, what's on your mind?
Oh, did I already talk about the device, speed control device in Virginia?
Speed control device?
Yeah, it's for repeat, like speeders.
So you mean like they're going to put a governor in people's car?
Well, the thing is, were you the one that mentioned they had already did in UK? They already had it. They're going to make you the speed limit. So they have your car tracked on the GPS, and it automatically applies the brakes. And they had it in United Kingdom. So Virginia State has implemented this law. So I think it sounds like it's mandatory if you're a habitual speeder. So it's like you either have this device or your license is, it's gone. You don't drive at all.
That sounds rather big government to me, Sarah.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
like
kind of
big
nuts.
government?
I would definitely be finding a way around that.
Me too. If I could drive.
They passed it. Virginia passed that, and also they're going to get a red light camera for the stop signs and crosswalks. They also have that. So if you poke right into the crosswalk, it's a ticket. Even if
everybody tries to get out of Virginia during a major event, and everybody's cars get the brakes put on. Nobody can go anywhere. They get frozen because the government said no. Only essential government employees can evacuate first. We're going to turn everybody's car off.
Oh man, wouldn't that be terrible?
Well, I don't know. If there's an emergency, I guess you got to do the speed limit. If you don't want to, if you're one of those cars with this device in it, it's not. They don't put it in everybody's car. Only if you have 10 speeding tickets or whatever. I don't know what the limit is. How Virginia operates.
Yeah.
It sounds like a very conservative, like a real strict state, like a southern Bible Belt state.
Virginia is a very blue state. It's the complete opposite. Everybody that works and lives in D.C., everybody that works in D.C. and can afford it lives in Virginia.
Okay.
So it's full of it's a very blue place.
That's the feeling I get about it, is that it's just the backyard of DC.
It is the DC elite's backyard. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the people that make money don't live
left
in DC.
or right. It's just slimy.
Yeah.
Do they have execution? Yeah. Do they have death penalty in Virginia? That's what I'm assuming.
I don't know. I'm not interested in moving to Virginia, so I've never asked that. But it does look like this is an actual program. If you're convicted of reckless driving, speeding 100 miles an hour or more, they will mandate the Intelligent Speed Assistance Program in Virginia. So
that's a little concerning to me.
Yep. Thanks for the call tonight, Sarah. One more reason to not move to Virginia.
Yep.
If you have an experience with this, I'm curious. Give us a call here. The phone number is 603-283-6160. Speed control on your car.
When you got your health, I'm Holland Cook with Inflation Hacks. Have you seen the TV commercials for GoodRx? It's a website and app that comparison shops for prescription meds. One catch, it only works if you're paying without insurance. My pal Larry doesn't go to a dentist. He lets university dental students hone their clinical repertoire on him. Yes, it is less expensive, and insurance still covers it. One trade-off he's quick to add: plan on spending the whole morning there, because students' work is so closely supervised. Because it's a university, he figures he's getting state-of-the-art care. And when I asked about rookie mistakes, Larry said the students are gentle. Just don't let the faculty in there. How are you coping? Post your inflation hacks at andyoucanquoteme.com.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. At least 12 people have died in a wildfire in southern Spain. It comes as Europe's in the midst of another heatwave, after the continent recorded its hottest June on record. Europe's believed to be warming faster than any other continent on the planet. Here's European Commission spokesperson Paula Pinho.
This sad and horrible news about wildfires which are spreading across various countries in Europe are just a confirmation that unfortunately climate change is a reality and brings and has a cost even to lives. And President von der Leyen also reiterates that, of course, we stand with Spain, we stand with all the brave firefighters who are putting their lives at risk, and with all the first-hand helpers dealing with these emergencies.
Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US, after President Donald Trump declared the truce over while attending the NATO summit in Turkey this week. But he then appeared to soften his stance, saying he would allow negotiations to continue. The contradictory signals from the White House have left mediators uncertain about America's position. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
On the one hand, you had Donald Trump declaring the ceasefire was over, but also saying that he thinks talks could continue, saying that the US should finish the job, but he doesn't want to return to all-out war. And it's hard to know if this is part of his negotiating tactic to kind of put extra pressure on Tehran, or whether it is just genuinely him being frustrated one minute and then changing his mind the next.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese have signed a landmark uranium supply agreement in Melbourne, enabling Australian exports to fuel India's civilian nuclear program. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The headline has certainly been the uranium supply deal. This is something that's been in the works for more than 10 years now. And this is crucial for India because just last year in 2025, the Indian government set itself a very ambitious target of producing 100 gigawatts of clean energy using nuclear fuel. And this comes at a time when India has been pivoting hard towards sources of energy which are non-polluting, as it wants to decarbonize its industries, its power sector massively. And this is going to be hugely helpful for India, which wants to produce electricity using nuclear energy.
And the EU has threatened to fine Meta over what it says is the addictive design of its social media platforms. Meta now has the chance to respond to this preliminary investigation from the European Commission. The parent company of Facebook and Instagram says it disagrees with the findings. From bureaus worldwide, this.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live. This is Talk Radio you control. Give us a call. The phone number is 603-283-6160. If you're tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites, our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. In the studio tonight, it's Stu.
Riley O'Bill.
And Angelo.
We were just talking to Sarah about Virginia passing a law that they can slow your car down if you get convicted of speeding too much.
You know what I've been seeing a lot of is anti-flock posts all over the internet, and I'm proud of us. I'm proud.
Take them down.
I'm proud internet. I'm proud
Take
people out there.
Take down the flock cameras, everybody.
Yeah, they're cutting them down. Whatever you do, don't point a high-powered laser in the camera. Whatever you do, don't.
Yep. So I got a story here. It's posted at Activist Post. This is from Matt Agrist of the Free Thought Project, and it's at the intersection of both those things. Self-defense against the machine. Virginia man puts warrantless flock surveillance on trial. Virginia man accused of destroying multiple flock cameras who pleads not guilty because...
No, he didn't. I was with him. We were hanging out, dude. Whatever he did, no, he didn't.
Who pleads not guilty because mass surveillance violates our rights. As millions of Americans passively consume state-sanctioned fireworks this 4th of July, it is crucial to remember that Independence Day was not birthed from compliance, but from radical, unapologetic defiance against a monolithic empire. That raw spirit of 1776 has not been extinguished. It has simply shifted targets from a tyrant king to the digital panopticon. The surveillance state rarely takes kindly to those who blind its all-seeing eye, and the latest casualty is this in this modern war for liberty is a 41-year-old Suffolk, Virginia resident named Jeffrey Scott Sovereign. Between April
appropriate name.
Yeah. Yeah, Sovereign. That's close to sovereign, huh? Between April and October of 2025, local authorities allege Sovereign channeled that revolutionary energy by systematically dismantling 13 automated license plate reader ALPR cameras operated by the private surveillance behemoth Flock Safety.
No, I hate how they've changed the way they talk about these things in the media. Now they're referring to them as ALPRs. They talk about them as their license plate readers. These are not license plate readers.
Well, so
they don't just read your license plate. That's not what they do.
Yeah, they do a whole lot more than that. The reason they got the name Flock is because that's one of...
Because you're the sheep.
I think two companies... Good.
It makes a lot of sense.
I saw a meme today that said, the I think it's a pull string toy that's got the arrow in the middle and the barnyard animals around the outside, and then it says, "What does the sheep say?"
Yeah.
And then it was something like, "Government needs to watch me because for safety." So, something like that. Flock Safety. So I think that's one of two companies running these things, though. If I heard correctly, there's another company out there doing this. Flock has the majority of the.
I can't remember if it was called. Is it called Anchor or Core? It's something like that.
Yeah, something. So they've all kind of just gotten the name Flock cameras, though, because Flock owns most of them.
Yeah, they're the flagship.
Mm-hmm. Investigators claim Sovereign separated the two-piece mounting poles and removed the tracking equipment with tools, targeting the $1,300 setups that include the camera, solar panels, and mounting hardware.
$600 worth of precious metals in those bad boys.
That's what I hear. I saw another meme like that. Yo, crackheads, you know what's inside those things?
$600 of precious metals.
There's some gold and a bunch of
copper.
Bunch of
I
copper.
know, right? Oh
Go
my
get
God,
'em.
you could be
Go
making
get 'em, guys.
millions off of Flock cameras. Take them down, ladies and gentlemen. Take them down.
For allegedly blinding the Panopticon, Sovereign now faces 13 counts of felony destruction of property, 6 counts of petty larceny, and 6 counts of possessing burglary tools. Burglary tools. I got a whole car
that's
full
a
of
whole
burglary
thing.
tools right now.
But
But
you know, I
never
know
used
about
them
in
for that.
California, if you get caught with bolt cutters, like it's a charge in your car.
That's insane.
Yeah, same thing. Some places
I have
have
a
like
lockpick set for fun.
Nope,
I've never used
nope,
it to break in anywhere.
Nope. In some states, that's considered like a weapon. I know in California, if a cop comes into your home and there's a baseball bat next to your door and there's no mitt or glove, like there's no mitt or ball, it's considered a weapon in your house.
That's ridiculous. What's a woman supposed to do to protect herself?
Nothing. You're supposed to
Call the police?
Yeah, that's the idea.
The police are not obligated to protect you, duh.
Everybody's guilty of everything all the time. Don't quit resisting.
But yeah, California's just nunchucks are illegal there. I don't. That's just such a backwards place.
Crazy. I had nunchucks
all
when
the
I was
more reason
13.
not go to California.
Yeah, I hate the Yosemite's there. It's a real pretty state, real pretty place. You can't be there.
The official narrative, conveniently laid out in a criminal complaint, asserts that after Sovereign was arrested on October 17th, 2025 on unrelated warrants, he outright confessed to disassembling the units.
Oh, okay. Why?
Police
That's
claim
his
he admitted.
Why would you? Okay.
He admitted to keeping solar panels, batteries, and other hardware at his Nicholas Drive residence, which culminated in a raid that allegedly recovered 6 of those stolen solar panels. Unsurprisingly, a spokesperson for Flock Safety issued a statement expressing gratitude toward law enforcement for holding individuals accountable when their devices are damaged. Yet, I mean, isn't that using the public tax dollar to go after your private company's security kind of a thing? So there you go. Now they're even further slimy. Let's see. Yet this corporate applause completely ignores the glaring constitutional crisis created by the very existence of these devices on public roadways. These ALPR networks act as an unconstitutional dragnet, indiscriminately logging the movements of innocent, peaceful individuals without a shred of probable cause. In fact, just a year prior, in June 2024, a circuit court judge in neighboring Norfolk correctly ruled that collecting location data from the city's 172 flock cameras constitutes a search under the Fourth Amendment, accurately likening the vast database to warrantless tracking devices.
Well, because it is.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah. It equates that. There's no equating. That's
they just
exactly what they're doing.
Right, but they're just loopholing it because they're like, well, so we can't do it ourselves, but this private company, Flock Safety, they can do it, and then we can just buy the information from them.
That's how they get around the warrant. That's how they get around the Fourth Amendment. Is they'll just say, "Oh, we're not exactly doing. We're just buying the data from a company."
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid. It's just it's a way for
who's placed their cameras in public places, like on public roadways.
Yeah.
Yep. You can, by the way, if you're curious about these flock cameras and where to find them, there is a website called dflock.org, and it will show you. I looked recently. There are none in Keene.
They're all on the
There are none in Southwest New Hampshire at all.
They're all on the.
There's a couple up by the interchange, like halfway up the state where the interstates change. And then there's a bunch in like Nashua and Manchester.
It's the toll booths, I'm pretty sure, have flock cameras on them.
I'd love to throw a rock at one just for the entertainment of it.
I mean, I don't know how accurate you'd be, Riley, but
that's probably true.
I can point you in the direction.
All right, perfect. We'll go wear masks.
We'll have to bring a bucket.
Will you just tell me hit it?
Yeah. Go stand next to it. Go stand next to a sign. Hit it with a hammer and be like, ting. Did you hear that, Riley? You hit it.
Nailed it, man.
Like 15 feet away. 15 feet to the right.
Oh, man.
Hit somebody's dog.
Oh, no.
The state's portrayal of a clean, by-the-book investigation is already facing heavy public scrutiny. Individuals claiming to have been inside Sobern's residence during the raid publicly asserted that police stormed the home, forced a resident to cower in a towel, and threatened everyone with handcuffs while refusing to immediately produce a warrant. Yeah, that's how they do it. If you ever get raided, that's how they will do it. They'll refuse to produce a warrant, and they will just boss everyone around, and if you don't do what they say, they're probably just going to shoot you. They will have guns pointed at you. While disabling a device that is actively executing an unconstitutional search on your person might seem like a righteous defense of liberty, bringing that dismantled hardware into your home is a fatal tactical error. Agreed. By allegedly harvesting the state-contracted property for personal use, Sobern crossed the threshold into petty larceny, handing the monopoly on violence the exact legal pretext it needed to execute a traumatic raid and levy multiple felonies. To enforce the protection of their massive surveillance grid, the state didn't hesitate to escalate its own aggression against a citizen. Investigators openly admitted in the criminal complaint that they obtained a search warrant for a GPS tracker, slapping it onto Sobern's vehicle prior to his arrest to secretly monitor his movements and place him near the scenes of the disabled cameras. This localized battle in Virginia is just a microcosm of the staggering corporate state panopticon expanding across the country. According to a 2025 review by the Electronic Frontier Foundation, there were roughly 12 million searches conducted across approximately 3,900 law enforcement agencies using these very systems. This massive dragnet is far from flawless, as a 2021 study by the surveillance research firm IPVM found a 10% error rate in Falcon cameras, inaccuracies that have directly resulted in the wrongful arrests of innocent people across several cities. The nightmare is only deepening with May 2025 reports revealing Flock's development of a product called Nova, intended to supplement camera data with public records to track individuals without a warrant, a system the EFF aptly described as a dystopian nightmare. Yeah, these Flock cameras have gotten it wrong. I heard this story, I think it was in Arizona maybe, or New Mexico. It was in New Mexico. Some girl got, the cops showed up at her door and they're like, we know you've been stealing packages off people's porches. And she's like, no, I haven't.
And the car was like a completely different color.
She shouldn't have even answered the door. That
No,
was the first
don't
mistake.
answer the door.
But when she did and she talked to them, they charged her with this. And then I think it was her boyfriend or husband, put together the evidence, the hard evidence to show that she could not possibly have done it, and showed it to the cop. And I think they dropped the charges, but he was not apologetic at all. And he was a total jerk about the whole thing. So that's that's what these things are going to do. I don't like the idea of them at all. I was looking, I told you I looked at the map of where these are. The Wasatch Front in Utah is littered with these things. It's just you are not going anywhere.
This is really concerning.
An hour north or south of Salt Lake City without being completely tracked.
This is
crazy.
Insane. And
Yeah.
people are just putting up with it. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Add to this the glaring security vulnerabilities discovered by cybersecurity researchers in 2025, which allowed anyone to access live camera feeds from the Flock Condor line, while Flock hastily claimed this was a mere misconfiguration affecting limited devices. It highlights the severe danger of entrusting private corporations with the mass collection of our daily movements. It appears that Sovern's direct action has sparked a wildfire of decentralized resistance. Social media is currently flooded with videos of anonymous individuals taking power tools to Flock cameras in cities across the entire country, a phenomenon recently highlighted by Jason Bassler on X. This is exactly what happens when the state attempts to herd free humans like digital cattle into a corporate-controlled panopticon. This type of visceral resistance should not only be expected, but it is practically inevitable. State officials might be clutching their pearls over the damaged hardware, but they can trust that vastly more people in this country will offer quiet support for these vigilantes that would ever dare turn them in. We are witnessing a bloodless revolution of sorts, an organic, decentralized uprising against an invisible cage. It is just one battle in a massive ongoing war against the surveillance state, but for the first time in a long time, it appears that people are winning. If you feel that cutting down and destroying Flock cameras is your path forward, no one is stopping you, and in fact, many will support you. But if you don't want to risk being locked in a cage, there are many other ways to fight Flock without a sawzall. We must out-innovate the surveillance state, utilizing decentralized technological solutions and grassroots actions to actively protect our constitutional liberties. Free Thought Project co-founder Jason Bassler recently outlined 8 crucial strategies to dismantle the surveillance grid from within the system. You can demand an audit, forcing the city council to show empirical evidence that these cameras actually reduce violent crime, a burden of proof they usually fail to meet. You must also find out exactly when the contract expires by using FOIA requests to uncover original agreements, amendments, and termination clauses, ensuring the community organizes before the renewal, not after. Before any surveillance data is deployed with public funds, demand the privacy impact assessment, a civil liberties review, and a constitutional analysis. If the city never conducted one, asking them publicly why not puts them on the defensive. You have to show up before they vote, utilizing tools like community portals to set automatic notifications for upcoming council meetings so you can speak out before the budget is approved and the cameras go up. Follow the money to uncover the real motives. Ask for grant applications, DHS grants, and DOJ funding, because surveillance programs usually take root simply because outside federal money makes them appear free. Simultaneously, ask about data sharing agreements and MOUs to expose exactly which external agencies, often federal entities, are actually searching your city's license plate database. Public records requests aren't just for contracts. You must audit every search by publicly requesting logs showing the date, user, reason, and case numbers to expose abuse long before it makes the news. Finally, download your city's crime data and compare property and violent crime rates before and after Flock was installed. If there is no meaningful change, demand to know why taxpayers are still funding their own subjugation. Beyond bureaucratic warfare, you can protect yourself immediately on the road. One method to reclaim your anonymity is to use the infrared license plate covers. Digital ALPR cameras rely heavily on infrared light to read plates at night, and privacy-enhancing IR LED frames effectively wash out the camera's sensor with blinding white light while appearing completely normal to the naked eye of a passing police officer. For those looking to avoid the grid entirely, open-source mapping projects like DFLOC allow citizens to crowdsource and log the exact GPS coordinates of these invasive cameras. By consulting these decentralized maps before traveling, peaceful individuals can physically route their daily lives around the dragnet, effectively starving the corporate database of their location metadata. When activists do inevitably face the wrath of the state, relying on easily weaponized platforms like GoFundMe is a massive vulnerability, as state actors can effortlessly freeze, seize, or subpoena fiat-compliant systems. Defense funds must transition immediately to privacy-centric financial ecosystems like Monero or our sponsor Zano. That's ZANO, which is a pretty cool cryptocurrency, and if you're into crypto, look that one up and just see if you like it too. Let's see. Transition immediately to privacy-centric financial ecosystems, utilizing their confidential layers to ensure that your financial support of dissidents cannot be tracked by the very state prosecuting them. That's a good point. Like when the Canadian truckers did their thing and they were using crowdfunding to keep it going, they just got their bank accounts wiped out or frozen or whatever. So it shows you can't use anything, fiat centric to crowdsource your efforts.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was either him or Kyle. It was either the truckers or Kyle Rittenhouse. GoFundMe took down a bunch of their things, and GiveSendGo, I think, is a better site to use, especially as like a political dissident or like an activist.
Yeah,
GiveSendGo seems to be more willing to let stuff stay up.
Right, but in order to actually use any of that money, you have to withdraw it to a bank account, and then that's where they get you.
Oh.
So it'd be cool if there was a crowdfunder that would take dollars and then pay out in Bitcoin.
That would be really cool.
For any nerds who want to build a thing, maybe you do that. Anyways, back to the article. Finally, the battle must be brought directly to the local level through aggressive legislative nullification. Communities must demand their local city councils terminate these invasive contracts, following the lead of municipalities like Denver that have faced massive public pushback, and several other cities that have already severed ties with Flock over deep-seated privacy concerns and data misuse. The monopoly...
It's weird. It's been a lot of left-leaning cities, too.
Mm-hmm.
More left cities have been anti-Flock than Republican cities.
Well,
even in places like Texas,
No, I mean, yeah, they are right now, but you wait a couple of years and their people will get in power and then they'll be pro-Flock. You wait.
Well,
yeah, that's true.
That's the thing is,
that's true.
I think if they did this under a leftist regime, then
people would be losing their minds.
That one side would be okay with this. But since they're doing it under the rightist regime, neither side likes it. Republicans don't like these things either. So right now you've got bipartisan support for cut the cameras down, which I think is awesome.
True. Yeah, no, cut the camera. I'm not telling you to go do anything illegal.
But
yeah,
neither am I. Down. But it,
But I wouldn't object if you destroy a Flock camera.
Yeah, I'm not going to sue you, dude.
I would never call that a wrong thing to do.
No.
If I somehow ended up on a jury where the charges were this person cut down a Flock camera, that's an easy not guilty. So I don't know. I hope other people.
It just sucks. It sucks. I know about jury nullification.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sucks for the state.
I know, right?
Yeah. The monopoly on violence will never voluntarily dismantle the digital cage it built to subjugate you, leaving it entirely up to a defiant public to ensure their panopticon is starved, legislated, or sawed into absolute obsolescence. And that's the end of that article. So,
big ups to Mr. Sovereign.
Yes, Sovereign.
Sovereign.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Mr. Silver.
Well, I hope he he's able to put up a defense, and it sounds like he's probably going to get steamrolled and kind of kicked in his door and found a bunch of stolen items.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well his defense is going to hold up, but I wish him well.
Me too.
Yep, that's quite a heroic act. I remember reading a book called The Monkey Wrench Gang. There was guys that like to go and cut down billboards, and it kind of reminds me of that. I just thought, I always thought that was such a cool thing.
Billboards are one thing. I think if it's on private land and you build a billboard and you're renting out the advertising space. It's different. It's not like the billboard's tracking you.
If I remember right, it was just the ones next to the interstate that he hated.
He just had a vendetta against.
Yeah, it was just a fiction book anyways. It was fun. But it was about that kind of, it was about like eco-terrorism. Ultimately, this group of people goes and like sabotages a bunch of heavy equipment where there's I think it's a mining operation. And that's why they're called the Monkey Wrench Gang. Anyways, it was a good book. I read it a long time ago. I don't remember it all that well. Should probably read it again or get the audio book or something.
It makes me think of you've driven through the Midwest, right, Stu?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see the lingerie store sign, and then like the next block it'll be the Jesus Loves You sign, and then the next block it'll be like some other crazy Amish furniture store sign. I just think the billboards of the Midwest are like something to behold. If you don't ever get a chance, listener, I hope you do, so you can experience the psycho. It's just crazy. The Midwest billboard signs next level.
Yeah, it was really the mega churches out there in the middle of the country were the thing that made my jaw drop. The size of the churches, holy cow! They can't be possibly filling those things.
Every week, dude, 5,000 to 6,000 people.
Oh man, that's wild.
Give us a call. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
Some of you have wanted to support Free Talk Live's mission on a monthly basis, but don't want to support Patreon. Now we have an alternative that also helps our premier streaming platform, Odyssey. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click Join at the top of the channel. You can subscribe for $5 per month, and unlike other subscription services, Odyssey adds their processing fee on top, so it'll cost a little over $5 per month, but Free Talk Live will receive the entire amount you pledged. Higher donation tiers are available if you're feeling so inspired. You'll get a special membership badge that's visible in the Odyssey chat room, and if we get enough supporters, we may enable members-only chat. This new subscription method is a great way to decentralize our direct listener support away from just Patreon and also support a libertarian-run business, Odyssey. Please visit video.freetalklive.com and click Join to subscribe to our Odyssey channel and help support spreading our message around the planet. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click Join today. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. At least 12 people have died in a wildfire in southern Spain. It comes as Europe's in the midst of another heat wave, after the continent recorded its hottest June on record. Europe's believed to be warming faster than any other continent on the planet. Here's European Commission spokesperson Paula Pinho.
This sad and horrible news about wildfires which are spreading across various countries in Europe are just a confirmation that, unfortunately, climate change is a reality and brings and has a cost even to lives. And President von der Leyen also reiterates that, of course, we stand with Spain, we stand with all the brave firefighters who are putting their lives at risk, and with all the first-hand helpers dealing with these emergencies.
Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US after President Donald Trump declared the truce over while attending the NATO summit in Turkey this week. But he then appeared to soften his stance, saying he would allow negotiations to continue. The contradictory signals from the White House have left mediators uncertain about America's position. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
On the one hand, you had Donald Trump declaring the ceasefire was over, but also saying that he thinks talks could continue, saying that the US should finish the job, but he doesn't want to return to all-out war. And it's hard to know if this is part of his negotiating tactic to kind of put extra pressure on Tehran, or whether it is just genuinely him being frustrated one minute and then changing his mind the next.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese have signed a landmark uranium supply agreement in Melbourne, enabling Australian exports to fuel India's civilian nuclear program. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The headline has certainly been the uranium supply deal. This is something that's been in the works for more than 10 years now. And this is crucial for India because just last year in 2025, the Indian government set itself a very ambitious target of producing 100 gigawatts of clean energy using nuclear fuel. And this comes at a time when India has been pivoting hard towards sources of energy which are non-polluting, as it wants to decarbonize its industries, its power sector massively. And this is going to be hugely helpful for India, which wants to produce electricity using nuclear energy.
And the EU's threatened to fine Meta over what it says is the addictive design of its social media platforms. Meta now has the chance to respond to this preliminary investigation from the European Commission. The parent company of Facebook and Instagram says it disagrees with the findings. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, what are the prospects of the US and Cuba striking any kind of a deal over the future governance of the island? Pressure is growing as a humanitarian crisis grows across Cuba due to the significant tightening of the US economic blockade. Michael Bustamante, a leading historian of Cuban-American relations, spoke to Foreign Policy magazine.
The Cuban government has already shown a certain willingness to open their economy. They've announced reforms that, at least on paper, seem quite significant. It's on the political issues where Havana remains allergic, to put it mildly, to any kind of change. I mean, there's a deep sort of nationalist thread there that goes back decades about wanting to avoid any perception that they're ceding to the pressure of the United States. But I think one of the challenges that the Trump administration faces is that this is a government in Havana that's very used to dealing with pressure, though this pressure is unprecedented. They're very used to trying to figure out how to buy time. I mean, the Cuban government is up against the wall economically and politically. They don't have allies to the degree that they used to. No one's coming to bail them out. But the idea that there's going to be a reformer or a Delcy Rodriguez-like figure who's willing to sort of roll over on his or her superiors, that's sort of not in the DNA of a one-party state.
But President Trump wants to make something work, saying he wants to go down in history as the US president who has the honour of taking control of the island.
The main news again. At least 12 people have died in a wildfire in southern Spain. It comes as Europe's in the midst of another heatwave, after the continent recorded its hottest June on record. Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US, after President Trump declared a truce over while attending the NATO summit this week. And the EU's threatened to fine Meta over what it says is the addictive design of its social media platforms. And that's the latest feature story news. William Denslow reporting.
From 1941, when an amoeba became the first single-celled organism to play professional baseball, to 1794, when Thomas Jefferson more than likely did something historically significant. The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On May 25, 1925, Tennessee teacher John T. Scopes was formally indicted for teaching the theory of evolution in a public school after a monkey called to the stand failed to turn into a human.
Sir, you have been on the witness stand for a full 3 hours now. And in this time, we haven't seen you lose any of your hair or shed your tail. Can you at least articulate a single justifiable reason why Mr. Darwin's theory should even be mentioned in our nation's classrooms?
And on May 27, 1995, actor Christopher Reeve came in last place in a horseback riding event.
This is the Onion News Network.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio you control. You can call and get your thoughts on the air. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. And Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. In the studio tonight, it's Stu,
Riley O'Bill,
and Angelo.
We got a caller on the line, so we're going to go to the phones. This is Frederick in Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing? I called you a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And,
we're doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to hear you guys are doing good. Sorry about not asking right up front. You have pretty interesting conversations on here.
That's what we aim for.
Yep. Did you guys do any more investigating on that nanobot technology where they're injecting people with them and turning them into AI people?
I don't think I was on the night you called.
That would have been Bonnie, Angelo, and I on that show.
Yeah, I Googled it a little bit. I think the problem is the internet is just going to shut down most of the, look something. It's just, I get a bunch of Snopes and like schizo posting. Nothing I can find that's like concrete to like dive into.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know a little bit about this topic. So this is so they do have technical scientific papers about aerosolized nanobots and about injectable nanobots and about things called quantum dots and so on and so forth. But what exactly were you worried about these nanobots doing?
Well, I've been sprayed 3 times by a drone, and things have been changing a lot. It's like, have you heard of the super soldier technology they were trying to develop, that they were developing back years ago?
There have been several programs for that.
Yep. Where they can monitor the body, the vital signs and everything of that.
Is this an MK Ultra thing, or is it something else?
No, this would have been a general...
this is like next generation soldier type technology.
Okay.
Yeah, they do experimental things to soldiers all the time.
Yep. The MK Ultra program, what they released there that was back in the 50s and 60s, that program has been ended, I believe, and it's a new name given to it because they've gone on to bigger and better things in their testing of being able to make a Manchurian candidates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with an individual, and he said that he was watching a program that they actually did that with a person. They programmed him to go shoot someone. They gave him a fake gun, and he went and did just as they had him programmed to do, but it was a fake gun, so nothing happened.
Yeah, this is absolutely a thing. They can mind control through several techniques.
Yep. With the Space Force satellites and the weaponry in which they can do with that stuff, have you guys checked any of that stuff out and seen to the fullest degree of their abilities with them?
I don't think I've seen the full extent of that, but I am vaguely aware of some of that.
I remember Trump wanted to restart the Star Wars initiative, like the stuff Reagan was doing in the 80s.
Okay.
With like laser weapons, but that's not feasible in today's technology. But I could see like a network of, if they were working in tandem with like a nanobot technology, I could see something like Elon's Starlink getting utilized in a similar fashion, right? Because they're only satellites like the size of a toaster. And there's hundreds, if not thousands, of them floating around. So I could see like a Dragnet kind of thing with an Elon, like a Starlink-esque relay system of satellites with nanobots, working together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard on news on the radio that they are scheduling to put up 1,700,000 more satellites next year.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of satellites.
Yeah, what are they going up for, and what kind of satellites are they, and what are they going to do with them?
A million? I don't know. I don't know.
It sounds like they're trying to blot out the night sky and make it all bright and sparkly with their fake lights instead of the real stars.
Yep.
Yeah, it could be that. They definitely don't want you looking around out there.
No.
Because they've hit me a couple times with them satellite weaponry and stuff, and I don't like what they've done to this body for it.
What kind of effects have you experienced? Have they done voice to skull?
Yes.
What kind of things were they telling you?
Oh, I believe in Jesus, the Christ, the Messiah. I'm a Christian, and they're playing games in that area.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Trying to tell you, like, they giving you messages from Jesus, sort of a thing.
No, not that way. They're twisting scripture around, making it be backwards and stuff, and it's
interesting.
Well, inversion, I don't know, just the idea of inversion is that tracks.
Yeah.
They're always like, that's the occult loves to invert the good into the bad.
Exactly. They want to call evil good and good evil.
And run word games, word salad, this corporate cornball doublespeak BS is what I call it. But it's the same kind of word salad that like legalism, this legalistic kind of wording where you can just flip anything around and make it, you turn something good and turn it upside down so you can hit somebody over the head with it.
Essentially, it kind of mirrors the truth when you flip it on its head. Like when you flip it exactly opposite, it presents kind of a mirror image of the truth, and people will accept it as the truth.
Yeah.
It's because of the Hermetic principle of polarity. Everything
as above, so below.
Everything exists on somewhere on a pole, so one side of it is the same as the other, just in different degrees, right? So like if you think about temperature, you can't really say where hot starts or where cold starts. It's just, it's one temperature gauge. It goes from, down there to up there, and it depends on how long you make it, and it's kind of an infinite thing.
Yeah.
Like hot might start somewhere for me, and you might call hot starting somewhere else, and you know what I mean? So, it's definitely inversionism is one of the techniques they use.
Yep, and they've lasered my brain. I actually felt it doing it in there, in which I can't think like I used to think. They've changed my ability to think. They put enough nanobots in me in which they have 3 different layers in my brain, one on the left side of it, one on the right side of it, and one through the center of it. And they have these little computer chips that they put in there that's microscopic in there, which is in there that they put in your bloodstream, and they can put them anywhere as they want, and they electrify each quadrant separately.
Okay.
And they've been doing all 3 quadrants
so
at the same time.
I know they've been able to. I know they've been able to, for like a long time. They've been able to remotely target a human body and essentially microwave it real slow.
Yep.
And they have a whole range of things they can do. If you feel like you're infiltrated by nanobots, one thing I've heard about is after this the fake COVID vaccine that they got a whole bunch of people to take, there was reports of people showing up with MAC addresses. Like you could search for MAC addresses and there would be one coming from a person who recently got one of these jabs. And yeah, and so they did the best controls they could on this test, and I'm aware of humans' propensity for shenanigans, and it might all be fakery and nonsense, but if it's not, this is what they claim. They did this in the middle of a football field where there were no where they got to a spot where there were no MAC addresses showing up. And then as people, these test subjects would approach, the MAC address would pop up.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. And so there's a product called Masterpiece, and I haven't looked deeply into it. I think it's a sulfur-based product, but I could be wrong about that. Anyway, the product's called Masterpiece, and it's supposed to fix this condition. So you might want to look into that if you feel like you got infiltrated by nanobots.
Are they anti-EMP? I wonder if you could just hit yourself with an EMP. Like you wouldn't. EMPs don't hurt people, right? This is electronics that get damaged.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was thinking of that same principle myself a little bit. That's called Masterpiece.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I heard about this on Crow 777.
Have you had an MRI since any of this has happened?
No, I haven't.
I wonder what happens to these people if they have an MRI. Because that really is just a giant electromagnetic pulse machine, right? Like it's magnetic imaging.
I don't think they're making these things out of ferrous metals.
Okay. So probably like graphene, you think? Like a...
I can't remember.
I don't know exactly
I think they might
how
be proteins.
I don't know exactly how they work, but it's really weird. And I used to cry a lot, and they took my tears away from me, so I can't cry no more.
Wow, that's really insane.
Yeah, and that really makes me upset.
So,
can you feel sadness at all, or do you not feel anything?
They've been playing in that area too. They keep doing things that really make me upset, and I don't get upset anymore.
Interesting.
So they're playing with behavioral modification testing, and I'm their guinea pig for it all. One of them.
You think they're just trying to see if they can just desensitize you completely? Like, what do you think their end? Are you just a test subject and they're recording what happens, or is there an end game for this? Have they been pushing you towards like a certain direction?
Yeah, they told me they were going to make me a false prophet, and I told them you won't know.
Why you in particular?
I don't know. I was in the foster care and things that have happened to me through the years that I'm looking back now at. I'm like, because I know things that I should have no knowledge of. Back in 98, back in 98, I was working on a big truck, changing the drive spring on a semi. And this voice told me to put my head between my knees now, and it yelled, and it sounded like it was inside my head. So I did it, and just as I did that, the truck came off the jack, and if I would have been still sitting up with a spring in my hand, the truck would have came down and killed me. So was that them doing that with their experiment? Have I been being their experiment with this stuff for the last 20 years?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Do you have Wi-Fi in your house?
No.
Have you tried to go like camping or out in the woods or just away from civilization to see if it changes that at all?
Nope, them satellites follow me around. I had 7 of them come flying in on me about 4 years ago and set up, and that's when they started doing all this crap to my body. for them 7 satellites. And just before that, I met 6 Air Force boys with Space Force patches, SF patches on them.
Yep.
So that's who's been doing it.
Where did you meet these gentlemen?
I met these gentlemen at a restaurant in Coldwater, Michigan called Ponderosa.
We used to have Ponderosa in Utah.
As I believe that place is a CIA outpost. They got 5 different crews that's working out of that place.
Okay. So you went there to
3
eat,
of them.
and they just showed up?
That's where I always went to eat. I'd go there 3 to 4 times a month to eat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy what's going on in this world, right? And people don't even realize it. So these, in my theory, my hypothesis of this, with all this, with the fake COVID shots and all this stuff, like you were saying, giving everybody these MAC addresses and stuff that people have them, with this big push for all of a sudden all these IT buildings going up everywhere.
All the data centers?
Yeah, all the data centers and stuff and everything. That is, if you have 10 million people with all this information, with these computer chips, and you need these data centers to process it and everything like that.
Yep, makes
then
sense.
Then you got the Starlink. Then, from what they said on the news here a couple of days ago, they're putting up over 1 million new satellites in the sky in the next year. It's all to monitor people and to take control over people.
I'm still a believer in that. The 15-minute city idea is still probably underway with those
absolutely.
that be.
If they want to do that, if they can, they certainly will.
And they want to put cameras everywhere so they can tag and trace you everywhere you go.
Yep.
So another thing is there are companies that make essentially Faraday clothing. It's the idea of the tinfoil hat, but they've done it in such a way that it just looks like normal clothing. So you could look into that and see if that helps.
And what was that product you told me that says help?
That was Masterpiece.
Masterpiece. All right, Masterpiece.
Yep. So, anyways.
Can you get that online, or how do you find that?
I don't know. Like I said, I haven't looked deeply into it, but I imagine you could find it online, yeah.
Because my original call that I called in and talked with you folks here a couple of weeks ago, it was 3 weeks ago, a week, and last week I tried calling in and my phone just double rang, so it never got through.
Oh, I know we weren't live last Saturday for the 4th of July. I don't think we weren't live, and then
it was the week before that. Then I'm sorry.
Yeah, we weren't live.
No, I don't think we were. I don't think we were live the week before that either, because Bonnie took a trip that weekend too, so we pre-recorded that Saturday.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you just called on 2 pre-recorded days, pal. I'm sorry. Or yeah, you called on when we had a pre-recorded show, just because nobody was here to run it. So I'm sorry about that. But usually we're live every weekend from 7 to 10. So.
In the conversation I had first time when I called you, I listened to it the following week, and it was edited.
So I looked this up. Masterpiece, it's spelled Peace, so it's Masterpiece. There are several companies that make it. It's a zeolite detox supplement. Is what it is essentially. So anyway, give that a shot.
Could you give me the spelling of that?
Yeah, it's master, like Master, and then peace.
Master.
Peace, like Peace.
PEA?
Yep. CE.
And what was the rest of it?
It's a zeolite, which is ZEOLITE. Zeolite.
Okay, I'm pretty slow at spelling because I'm very dyslexic.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, it's Master.
Yeah, peace. Like the opposite of war.
CE?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's zeolite.
Could you spell that, please?
Yeah, it's ZEOLITE. Thanks for the call tonight. I hope the product helps you. You know, it's Ian would have been laughing his head off at that call, and it wouldn't have lasted half that long, I'm sure.
That's because Ian's kind of skeptical.
Yeah, he doesn't give a lot of credibility to many of the conspiracy theories. I always liked his skepticism, but
I always find them fascinating.
A lot of the things that like I don't know, some of them are easily provable though. Like I think he's still.
Well, they used to say that torture in Guantanamo Bay was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
that was
now we know it happened.
yeah. Now thanks to John Kiriakou.
I think he still insists that chemtrails aren't a thing, even though they say they do it. And
even though there's
this video of them
even though
like
there's
spraying
patents
out
to
of a hose.
modify them.
One of the atrazine wasn't doing nothing to the frogs either.
Yeah. Oh man, Ian's the greatest though. Anyways,
I think it's good to be skeptical. You still have to. You need those kind of people because you still have to exist in the reality that the paradigm that you're currently in is still the one you have to work through.
Absolutely.
And you still have to be in that reality. Like, sure, yeah, the world's ran by a bunch of, chomo, baby-eating, billionaire, psychopath Satanists, Rosicrucians, you insert whatever, but I still got to go to work tomorrow, and there's still taxes that get taken out of my paycheck. And
not only that, but just because you've stumbled onto something that has changed your mind, and you can see that what you used to think was true, and now you think this other thing is true, that might not be true either. Just because you found something closer to the truth doesn't mean that's actually
completely true. Or it's both.
Right. So
or it's none of it. Yeah, none of it could be the truth.
Definitely skepticizing everything all the time is a good idea.
I think it's part of having an open mind is also having a discerning mind, right? Like, you got to be able to sift through the information. If you're willing to take in all of the information, you have to be able to sift through a lot of cloudy water to figure out what, even to get a sense of an idea of what's actually going on. Everything's been so obfuscated and bureaucratized. Like, there's so many layers to the mechanisms of power that for the average person, it's just too much time and effort and energy to figure out what's really going on. Like I said, you have to go to work. You have to go to work. You don't. It's not easier. It's what you have to do. You have to make the money.
I mean, you don't have to.
Well, okay. You don't have to.
But you got to survive somehow.
You do got to survive somehow.
Yeah, you have to survive somehow. And when you're focused on survival, there's little time for antics, right?
Yeah. We shouldn't have to focus so hard on survival, though, and there's a reason that we are. So maybe it's beneficial for people to start learning a little bit more about why it is that we're spending so much of our time on survival. Give us a call. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Rising fees have made Bitcoin useless for purchases, but Dash continues to have fees less than 1 cent per transaction, and its features ensure Dash is undefeated as the most useful cryptocurrency in the marketplace. From a technical standpoint, Dash transactions are irreversible, and its network is protected from 51% attacks by their Chainlocks technology. There's no need to wait for a confirmation before considering a Dash transaction complete, so it's great for merchants. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at Dash.org. Big thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit Dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. At least 12 people have died in a wildfire in southern Spain. It comes as Europe's in the midst of another heat wave, after the continent recorded its hottest June on record. Europe's believed to be warming faster than any other continent on the planet. Here's European Commission spokesperson Paula Pinho.
This sad and horrible news about wildfires which are spreading across various countries in Europe are just a confirmation that unfortunately climate change is a reality and brings and has a cost even to lives. And President von der Leyen also reiterates that, of course, we stand with Spain, we stand with all the brave firefighters who are putting their lives at risk, and with all the first-hand helpers dealing with these emergencies.
Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US, after President Donald Trump declared the truce over while attending the NATO summit in Turkey this week. But he then appeared to soften his stance, saying he would allow negotiations to continue. The contradictory signals from the White House have left mediators uncertain about America's position. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
On the one hand, you had Donald Trump declaring the ceasefire was over, but also saying that he thinks talks could continue, saying that the US should finish the job, but he doesn't want to return to all-out war. And it's hard to know if this is part of his negotiating tactic to kind of put extra pressure on Tehran, or whether it is just genuinely him being frustrated one minute and then changing his mind the next.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese have signed a landmark uranium supply agreement in Melbourne, enabling Australian exports to fuel India's civilian nuclear program. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The headline has certainly been the uranium supply deal. This is something that's been in the works for more than 10 years now. And this is crucial for India because just last year in 2025, the Indian government set itself a very ambitious target of producing 100 gigawatts of clean energy using nuclear fuel. And this comes at a time when India has been pivoting hard towards sources of energy which are non-polluting, as it wants to decarbonize its industries, its power sector massively. And this is going to be hugely helpful for India, which wants to produce electricity using nuclear energy.
And the EU's threatened to fine Meta over what it says is the addictive design of its social media platforms. Meta now has the chance to respond to this preliminary investigation from the European Commission. The parent company of Facebook and Instagram says it disagrees with the findings. From bureaus worldwide, this.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
This is Free Talk Live. It's talk radio you control. You can give us a call at 603-283-6160 and let us know what's on your mind. We'll talk to you about pretty much anything you want to. In the studio tonight, it's Stu,
Riley, Bill,
and Angelo.
That last caller was interesting.
I agree. It was definitely an interesting conversation. Like, I'm pretty sure there are a ton of government programs out there that we don't know about and tons of technology we don't know about. So, I don't know. It was an interesting call.
Yep. So
I just think, at what point are we gonna, like, even with the flock cameras, if there's, is it just because it's the workaround around the Fourth Amendment? Like, if there's nanobot technology, what do we need flock cameras for?
That's a good question.
What would be the point if we can just nanobot everything, but just put it in the car itself?
Yeah.
Maybe they want to cover all their bases and make sure that people who don't have nanobots are actually being surveilled too. I don't know. Just a thought.
Well, for me, I have a line at what my car is allowed to do, and it won't be my car if it does certain things. I'm a little bit nervous about cruise control for an automation in my car, if that gives you some idea.
Really?
So I'm still buying things from
I mean, but
2005.
Yeah, but those have cruise
modern
control
for me. Like I really feel like just going back to a 1974 where
you can find one that's not rusted out in New England.
That's the problem, isn't it? You can buy all the replacement parts though, and then I don't know.
I mean, doesn't your I just bought the same car you did, the white one that's sitting over there. It's got cruise control.
Yeah, I know, and I'm okay with it. I'm just a little bit nervous about it. I don't draw the line there, but
I mean, isn't it just like a cable, like setter, like for your? I get there's computers in them now.
So there's no reason that a company like Tesla couldn't make a car that you had full control over. I have headphones, wireless headphones that I downloaded an app, and I have full control over the EQ on them. Like it's pretty simple. There's no reason you shouldn't have an app that you can control everything on your car about. But but the way it seems like the trend is going towards your car is controlling you more than anything else.
Well, they want to make it to where you have no control. Yeah,
like self-driving is cool. I got behind the wheel of one of these newer Teslas and had it self-drive me around, and it was cool. And also, when not self-driving, if you hit that gas pedal hard, holy cow, there's no
delay.
Those things really get up. So, and that's all really cool. But I was just, I wish I had a warm and fuzzy feeling about it not dropping me off at the police station, or you know what I mean, or like slowing me down to 25 miles an hour when I'm on the interstate.
Yeah,
and need to go or just 70,
or just driving me into a tree.
That'd be really bad.
Like that's let's see, which journalist went out that way? His Prius accelerated into a tree.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, but
anyways,
I mean, there's a lot of how many journalists have been found in the United States committing suicide with 2 shots to the head?
Yeah,
it's like a standard operating procedure at this point. For if anybody, standing up to the machine is deadly.
Yeah,
it's a death wish. So, I mean, even you can be president of the United States, and if you stand up too hard to the machine, it's curtains. There's no spot that's untouchable by this.
Yeah, I think Ronald Reagan got a little bit uppity, and they had him shot. He survived it. Yeah, that's how they do. No, I don't think they're even all that shy about it anymore either. They'll just kind of tell you once.
No, because what are we going to do about it? Like, it's at the point where the bully's standing squarely with his boot on your chest, and he's saying, "What do you do? Something about it."
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing. What do you do?
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Sasago Burr, I guess.
Yeah, Sasago Burr.
But
certainly what you don't do is tell them, okay, you're right, you can go ahead and keep bullying
govern me harder, daddy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you can tell them that, but it'd be a bad idea.
Yeah, unfortunately that's what people have been telling them for far too long.
Yeah,
because everything's a catastrophe. It's always a catastrophe, and it has to be in order to get the money funneled that direction, right? Every issue has to be the make or break issue. And everybody raises the alarm bells, and then we lose a little bit more of our rights, and they wait for 4 or 5 years, and then they raise the alarm bells, and we lose a little bit more of our rights, and then we wait 4 or 5 years, and they raise it. It's a slow boil. It is frogs in a pot. I'm using a lot of analogies with animals being trapped, but I mean that's what we are, trapped animals. We are the flock, right? We're sheep. But it's because these people, they're we were talking about being in survival mode. Well, you're planning for the next day or the next week, right? That's how far you're looking into the future, because you're just trying to survive. But the people who are running these, this is generational, right? This is 40, 50, 60-year plans.
They've been at this for
thousands
of years.
Sure, thousands. Just in the American experiment,
continuity to one plan going on for a very long time.
Well, then why did they ever let us out of the bag? The Egyptians had everybody enslaved once already.
They let you have the illusion of freedom because then you'll cooperate more. Because if they kept their boot on your neck for all of your life, you may be uncooperative and they wouldn't have good cattle, so to speak.
Yeah, my theory about that is that they want some things done and they can't do it themselves, and they have to let humans off the leash a little bit because humans are good at doing things.
Humans. So you're insinuating that the guy who has the leash isn't?
Probably, or
just a really evil human.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
Or are they so evil that they've shed their humanity? Were they born men?
I don't know.
They were men once. Now they're ring wraiths.
Could be David Icke's interdimensional lizard people.
Could be.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, anything's a possibility. The part of being an open-minded skeptic is you have to have discernment. So I mean, sure, it totally could be lizard people. I haven't seen a ton of evidence that it's satanic lizard people.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be. I mean, I haven't.
I'd like to have a real good close look around in Antarctica and find out what's actually going on there. That might shed some light on this. But as far as who's in charge, it doesn't really matter because the answer is the same. It's about what you're not willing to put up with. It's about what you're gonna quit doing. You know, how you're gonna quit feeding the beast. More than anything else, whether it really is just, I don't know, random chance that things are going towards authoritarianism hardcore, or if it's a, interdimensional alien guy hanging out in Antarctica and pulling the strings from there, the answer is the same. I think it's all about what the individual is going to do,
No, I get that. No, and that's just the answer to all of it is like, what can you control, and how do you control yourself when presented with the situation that we find ourselves in?
It's really as simple as having a firm state of mind and not being all wobbly about it.
Just
having some principles.
Being 10 toes down on who you are.
That you're going, to uphold moral action and refuse immoral action, and that you have that mindset and everything flows from there. The universe
it's a matter
is mental.
of having confidence and knowing what your rights are. For example, like when I was going to Fork Fest with Mr. Penguin, we got pulled over and the cop asked for my ID, and I did not give him to him because I know that I don't have to give him my ID. I didn't answer any questions.
Yeah.
And that's a matter of confidence. You got to be confident enough to know your rights and confident enough to exercise them when it becomes necessary.
Yeah, it definitely takes some intestinal fortitude to do what's right in the face of, pure evil trying to make you do otherwise. But that's the answer to it, is
personal accountability.
Humanity's going to suffer as morality wanes, and as morality grows, humanity will experience freedom and abundance. It's
and the organization
direct correlation.
And the organization type known as government isn't going to fix this, ladies and gentlemen. You can't elect quote unquote good people to fix this. This isn't going to happen. What's going to happen is when you start standing up for yourself, standing up for your rights, standing up for your morals and values, and living the best you can, that's going to fix this.
No, you can't legislate morality.
No.
Yeah, everybody knows that. We figured that out when we tried. I thought we figured that out when we tried banning alcohol in the 20s as a country.
No one's figured that out.
As a group. Growing up and be like, oh yeah, we tried to ban alcohol sales, and then we got the mob, so we figured out that we couldn't do that anymore. And it didn't make sense to just ban things because then we create criminal empires that we can't control.
Like cannabis, like mushrooms, like various things like that. We got to keep banning things because we haven't learned our lesson.
I think we did. I think we just started to build out the criminal enterprises underneath the management of the federal government. Is
that why the CIA is the biggest drug dealer in the world?
100%. You get to keep selling your product as long as you pay your taxes.
Yep.
Right? Because the underground or the black market or whatever you want to call it, it's just really it comes down to people engaging in commerce outside the bounds of government, and sometimes that commerce could be in something horrible like human trafficking, or it's just like in drugs, or it could be in guns, which is that even trafficking? where you have a right to defend yourself. That's not morally wrong, but you're engaging in commerce outside of the bounds of the law, right? So these guys are just trying to make money. That's what this whole thing is. So that's what the federal government wants to do, is get as much money as possible. So they figured out that it's more profitable to just be a mafia don. Have everybody kick up to us, and we'll let this whole operation keep going as long as the money keeps flowing upwards and the trash keeps flowing downwards. It's a pyramid scheme, and that's why it's about to crumble, because now we're $40 trillion in debt, and we can't manage any of our assets, and we're drowning.
It's deeper than that, though. I don't think it's. I think it's just meant to look like it's about the money when it's about. It's about control over people, but ultimately, I think it's about a project, like a secret space project. I think there's a group of people that either wants to leave the planet or they want to make themselves immortal.
Well, they want to Star Trek it.
Yeah, and
I see this comment all the time. Is a lot of the Reddit atheists who go, "This is why we can't have Star Trek." In Star Trek, before they took to the stars and did the whole World Federation thing, there was a huge nuclear war and a ton of people died
in the Star Trek?
In the Star Trek universe. Before they left, before everything got super cool, there was a huge nuclear war and a lot of stuff got destroyed and a lot of people died. So when everybody says, "Oh, I wish it could just be Star Trek," no, you don't.
Yeah, you
don't, because it starts with most of us dying.
Yeah. And I think that this secret space program, they could never have built on their own, and they needed humans to do it, and so that's how they did it. And the 40 trillion...
If they're interdimensional, what do they need space travel for?
The 40 trillion in debt is a made-up thing, and they don't care about that. What they care about is the representation of that 40 trillion is the amount of work that they got us to do for them without knowing it. And they stole from us more than we could have ever possibly had.
Well, they stole the future.
Right.
Because now it's debt. It's work that hasn't been completed yet.
Right. So, yeah, so really, once you have enough money, you know what I mean, then it becomes enough money, and gaining more.
Are you sure the money doesn't corrupt? Is it not? I mean, what did the book? One of the books says that money is the root of all evil, right?
Yeah,
does the money corrupt them to the point where they believe that they simply, on the fact that they have so much money, that they get to paint the world as their canvas?
I think it says that the love of money is
the love of money,
and they know that the money is a fake thing, right? They're the ones who made it. They're the ones who made it up in the first place and got us to start using it instead of the gold that they've gone ahead and stolen and replaced it with, gold-coated tungsten bars.
And then for what? What does the gold do for them? If the money's all made up, then, even the idea of gold being valuable to somebody's made up unless you're building it into electronics.
But that's an actual scarce, tangible resource, whereas the money is just made up.
Sure. Sure, but you can't eat them. You can't eat gold.
And if you listen to Zecharia Sitchin, then, the Anunnaki needed to fix their atmosphere.
Allegedly.
So, the gold.
Oh, well, that makes perfect sense. It all makes sense now, guys.
That is...
The Anunnaki need the gold from Fort Knox to fix their alien atmosphere.
This is one theory that some people actually firmly believe.
Wow. I've heard of the Anunnaki. I didn't know about the whole gold fixing atmosphere thing.
That's the reason they ended up on Earth, is because their atmosphere was thinning. And they tried to fix it by making their volcanoes erupt, and it didn't work. And so the guy whose idea that was, that kind of now had egg on his face, he stole a spaceship and flew to Earth, landed, and then DNA manipulated the Earth monkeys into what is now modern human. And that's why there's no missing link in the historical fossil record. And so this, this manipulated human race was only ever invented to mine gold so they could take it back.
So then we've been sheep the whole time. What's different?
That's one theory. Yeah.
It's an interesting theory.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
I know.
And it gives you a different reference point for, looking at things. I don't think...
Well, how do we know we're not just a car battery? Have you guys
Could
seen?
be.
Well, Riley hasn't seen, but
Well,
the
yeah,
Rick and Morty episode where
the metaverse episode.
Yeah,
yes.
where it's just your car batteries.
Rick's car battery is a universe powered by
another miniverse to teenyverse to
yeah. They all figured out how to subjugate mini-verses. I think there is some of that going on to some degree, but that's beyond most people's comprehension. But it does make sense. So
what did they siphon? Because thermodynamics or the laws of matter, it can't be created nor destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Are they? Is there? But is it? Are they siphoning off the top? What is the mechanism of? What do they feed on? Or are they just in stasis?
According to David Icke, they feed on loosh.
Loosh farming.
Yes. which is strong emotional reaction.
Interesting.
So they're energy vampires, essentially.
Yeah, it's like the Monsters Inc. movie.
Okay, like the scream meter or whatever. The whole world runs on screams.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of horrifying. And Monsters Inc., a cute kids movie, but if you thought, the whole world just runs on screams, it gets way darker, way faster.
It definitely does, and hopefully they discover that laughter is so much better.
Yeah. I've been just...
laughter is something I heard. I love Kurt Metzger. The guy's nuts. I watch his stuff a lot, which is a lot of conspiracy theories. He's way out there on some stuff.
He has his own show?
Yeah.
I just catch him when he's on.
Oh, he's got his own podcast. Dude, he's gone down the rabbit hole. It's great. Nice. I watch him every chance I can, dude. Kurt's great. But he was saying, as a comedian, he's kind of found that, laughing and, making jokes of things is, reverse mind control. It breaks up your immersion. It breaks the.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Breaks the.
I'm sure it does because laughter
dude, I can't even think of the word.
One of those things that
programming. It breaks up your programming.
I'm sure it does because laughter is one of those things that has produces chemicals in your brain that makes you feel good.
You guys seen the Harry Potter movies?
Yes.
Casting the ridiculous spell on the Bardarts?
Yep.
That's kind of what that's like. Yeah, it's something that terrifies you. If you're able to laugh at it, suddenly it's probably not so scary.
I've read the books, seen the movies.
And it does take the power right out of things when you can look at it, in a better perspective.
Yeah, and laugh at it. Isn't that so good? It's like, you ever laugh at a cop?
Yeah.
I've never done that yet.
Dude, they get so mad.
Oh, yeah, they hate it. It's a good way
they
to
blow up, dude.
Yeah, you should probably...
just chuckle at them. Just chuckle and shake your head a little bit when they're being ridiculous, dude. And
Lori has a good story.
Through the roof,
that.
bro. They can't stand it.
Lori has a good story.
Yes, even if you're not even in an interaction with them, or even if if it's normal or something, as normal as an interaction with a police officer can be.
Yeah.
And
Well, if you can get one of their partners to start laughing with you, then,
then
you might make it
yeah.
out, but-
Yeah. What was Lori's instance with
she
that?
was clowning some fat cop, calling him Farva, and his partner thought it was funny, and so she got away with it.
Oh no! I remember I got pulled over in California. I had a bunch of 22 shells in my. I was a dumb kid. I didn't know anything. I was like, "This is cowboy country, dude." Whatever. I get pulled over going to a girl's house one night, and the guy sees the 22 shells. And next thing I know, there's 8 cruisers around me. There's a mix of the local cops, the sheriffs, and the staters, right? And they all surround my car. And oh my god, there's a kid with 22 shells. and they get out of the car and they're like, "We're gonna search your car." And I was like, "No, you're not. I know my rights. You can see that there's a 22 shell on my seat, dude. You're not searching my car. That's not. I don't consent to searches."
Yeah.
And eventually they're pressing me, and one of the staters in the back goes, "Oh my god, what are we doing with this kid, bro? Let him go." I was like, "Yeah, dude, what he said." And the rest of the cops, and start chuckling a little bit. And the cop that's in my face, he turns beet red because he's like a townie cop, and the staters are now being like, "Bro, let this kid go. What are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's furious, shoves everything in my hands, and he's like, "You get out of here, kid. You be safe." It's like, yeah, dude. If you can make them look ridiculous in front of their peers, it's over. That's raps. You probably are getting away with it.
Probably, unless their peers like them and decide to take their side, and then you're gonna get the beat down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Laughing.
Yeah, it's a gamble, but if it pays off, you feel really good about it.
It could be hard not to laugh at them too, especially the statey cops that wear that stupid hat that sits on the front of their head.
They're Smokey the Bear hat.
Leaves the whole back of their bald head exposed. And like, they just look so stupid wearing that.
Yeah, because if they wore it normal, they'd look even goofier. Like, have you seen a park ranger?
Yeah.
That's those hats worn normally, dude.
Weirdly, park rangers are almost more authoritarian than than your road cops. I like to refer to them as the forest bludgies because they definitely like to go on power trips.
Oh yeah, especially out west, man. I know they fly helicopters with infrared looking for heat signatures, and then they'll send somebody out, drive 45, 50 miles in there just to come and tell you to put your cooking fire out.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody paid for that.
I know, it's insane.
Somebody paid for that plane to go up.
Yeah.
It's just, and then
yeah. Well, in some places, I don't know. It depends on where you are. Like if you're in southern Arizona, and you're not Mexican, then you can get away with a lot because they're more worried about
the border and stuff.
Yeah, looking for border crossers and whatever. While I was down there, there was a story going around of a woman who was arrested for leaving water in the desert.
Oh, for the hikers, true hikers.
Yeah, for people that were border crossing on foot or whatever.
That's
insane. I've also read the other stories where this rancher has his fence cut and he's like, I'm watching these guys walk through my yard and nobody does anything to stop them.
Yeah.
And if I shoot him, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
So it's just isn't that just a weird? That's just it's that two-tier justice system. Yeah, we'll arrest the lady who's giving them water, but we're not going to help protect this guy's land. He pays his taxes. That's the idea of I pay taxes, you're supposed to help me defend my property, right? That's kind of the trade-off, or the idea of the trade-off. And now they won't do either. Now they're doing nothing but just spending your money.
The southern border enforcement is so messed up. It is the worst possible organizational catastrophe you could possibly imagine.
I know, I'm sure it is. I should remind our listeners that if you Google no obligation to protect, you'll find that the Supreme Court has ruled time and time again that the police are not obligated to protect you.
But then these states have made it illegal to protect yourself and your property. But they have no right to protect you.
Not only that, in their training, they're told their number one priority is that they come home safe at the end of the night. So there you go. That's how much they're out to be a hero on your behalf.
I know, right?
Give us a call. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
Hello, this is anchor Doyle Redland. I have just been informed that my 40-year contract with the Onion Radio News expired 2 minutes ago. A brief extension has been added to my contract to allow me to say goodbye to you, my faceless listeners. I've been reading the news out loud on the air for a very long time now, and the words to describe my feelings are difficult to find. Steve, what are you doing? This is my big moment.
I'm getting the word now that you have to leave the studio right now.
But where will I go?
Now.
Well, goodbye, everyone. I'm just coming back for my hat. No, it's my hat. I just need it and I'll go. There's no need to get pushy. Moose! Rocco, I thought we were friends.
Wake up and begin to Eleutheromania. The insatiable desire for freedom. We have been enslaved for all our lives. It's the new 3-song heavy metal EP from Captain Kickass. Available now on your favorite music app or get it directly from CaptainKickass.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. At least 12 people have died in a wildfire in southern Spain. It comes as Europe's in the midst of another heatwave, after the continent recorded its hottest June on record. Europe's believed to be warming faster than any other continent on the planet. Here's European Commission spokesperson Paula Pinho.
This sad and horrible news about wildfires which are spreading across various countries in Europe are just a confirmation that unfortunately climate change is a reality and brings and has a cost even to lives. And President von der Leyen also reiterates that, of course, we stand with Spain, we stand with all the brave firefighters who are putting their lives at risk, and with all the first-hand helpers dealing with these emergencies.
Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US, after President Donald Trump declared the truce over while attending the NATO summit in Turkey this week. But he then appeared to soften his stance, saying he would allow negotiations to continue. The contradictory signals from the White House have left mediators uncertain about America's position. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
On the one hand, you had Donald Trump declaring the ceasefire was over, but also saying that he thinks talks could continue, saying that the US should finish the job, but he doesn't want to return to all-out war. And it's hard to know if this is part of his negotiating tactic to kind of put extra pressure on Tehran, or whether it is just genuinely him being frustrated one minute and then changing his mind the next.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese have signed a landmark uranium supply agreement in Melbourne, enabling Australian exports to fuel India's civilian nuclear program. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The headline has certainly been the uranium supply deal. This is something that's been in the works for more than 10 years now. And this is crucial for India because just last year in 2025, the Indian government set itself a very ambitious target of producing 100 gigawatts of clean energy using nuclear fuel. And this comes at a time when India has been pivoting hard towards sources of energy which are non-polluting, as it wants to decarbonize its industries, its power sector massively. And this is going to be hugely helpful for India, which wants to produce electricity using nuclear energy.
And the EU's threatened to fine Meta over what it says is the addictive design of its social media platforms. Meta now has the chance to respond to this preliminary investigation from the European Commission. The parent company of Facebook and Instagram says it disagrees with the findings. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, what are the prospects of the US and Cuba striking any kind of a deal over the future governance of the island? Pressure is growing as a humanitarian crisis grows across Cuba due to the significant tightening of the US economic blockade. Michael Bustamante, a leading historian of Cuban-American relations, spoke to Foreign Policy magazine.
The Cuban government has already shown a certain willingness to open their economy. They've announced reforms that, at least on paper, seem quite significant. It's on the political issues where Havana remains allergic, to put it mildly, to any kind of change. I mean, there's a deep sort of nationalist thread there that goes back decades about wanting to avoid any perception that they're ceding to the pressure of the United States. But I think one of the challenges that the Trump administration faces is that this is a government in Havana that's very used to dealing with pressure, though this pressure is unprecedented. They're very used to trying to figure out how to buy time. I mean, the Cuban government is up against the wall economically and politically. They don't have allies to the degree that they used to. No one's coming to bail them out. But the idea that there's going to be a reformer or a Delcy Rodriguez-like figure who's willing to sort of roll over on his or her superiors, that's sort of not in the DNA of a one-party state.
But President Trump wants to make something work, saying he wants to go down in history as the US president who has the honour of taking control of the island.
The main news again. At least 12 people have died in a wildfire in southern Spain. It comes as Europe's in the midst of another heatwave, after the continent recorded its hottest June on record. Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US, after President Trump declared a truce over while attending the NATO summit this week. And the EU's threatened to fine Meta over what it says is the addictive design of its social media platforms. And that's the latest feature story news. William Denslow reporting.
In a move that puzzled patrons of the global fast food chain, McDonald's launched an extensive ad campaign this week entitled, "And Yet Is Not Beef Itself an Expression of Wanton Lust?" to air at prime time on several networks. The lengthy advertisement, which makes scant reference to any products or promotions, posits to viewers that perhaps beef is merely a symbolic expression of lust in its most wanton and depraved form.
When we call for beef, what are we really asking for? Is it the caress of a gentle lover? Or the blade of an executioner? The rage of steel on bone? Would you yourself deny beef? Would beef deny itself of you?
In other news, a spaced-out flower child is grooving on a doobie wave. A new study reveals nothing Pfizer's lawyers can't take care of, and the parents of an adorable child on a TV show are most likely insane. Thus ends nature's majestic cycle of weekly news reviews, only to gracefully begin itself anew in exactly 1 week's time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Talk radio you control. You can get on the air by calling 603-283-6160. We're happy to talk to you about pretty much whatever you'd like. I would like to thank Howard Ritter for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Howard went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks again to Howard and everyone who supports us. Again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. In the studio tonight, it's Stu,
Riley, Bill,
and Angelo.
Riley brought in a story about more authoritarianism. Surprise, surprise. New Ohio law requires drivers and passengers to identify themselves during traffic stops or face charges.
So my question about, before we get into the article, my question is this. If I were to refuse to give my name and birth date and identity, and I didn't have my papers on me, how are they going to charge me and know who I am?
They'll take you down to the jail and book you as John Doe until they find out who you are.
This is an example. I'd imagine they'd probably do that too. This to me is an example of an authoritarian hellscape taking root in America, in the heart of America, in the land of the free.
Yeah, I drove through Ohio. It was a nice state. It didn't creep me out like Indiana. Indiana's creepy.
Yeah, Children of the Corn vibes in Indiana for sure.
They got like,
and their state troopers are vicious.
And prisons right across the road from high schools, and you can't tell which is which except by reading the signs.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's so flat, Riley. It's just like there's not. I don't know. It makes everything just look so similar because 100 miles away, it's the same 8 cornfields that were in the other 100 miles. None of it doesn't really change a whole lot through Indiana.
Nope. You're just, using your blinker and driving the speed limit the whole time because you just feel like you're going to get pulled over at every minute.
That's got to be a creepy place to live, Indiana.
Yeah, I did not like it. I was happy to leave that state.
I lived in New Albany
Ohio was nice.
For a while. Right across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, at southern Indiana. So it's a little bit hillier there. But it's not so different. But I lived right where they trained the state troopers. It was like next to a training facility. So there'd be like 15 of them every drive home.
Yeah.
And they'd be like practicing pulling people over all the time, dude. All the time.
That's nuts.
Man. Columbus, Ohio. Governor Mike DeWine signed legislation Tuesday making it a crime for drivers and passengers to refuse to identify themselves during a traffic stop. House Bill 492, which cleared the Ohio House in November and passed the Senate before lawmakers recessed for the summer, makes it a fourth-degree misdemeanor for a driver or passenger to refuse to provide their name, address, or date of birth when a peace officer reasonably suspects they have committed a violation of Ohio motor vehicle laws. How could you possibly violate one of those as a passenger?
That's my question. I want to know.
I don't know. Could you throw littering? Is that considered a motor vehicle violation?
I don't think so. It's just
like
a criminal violation.
If you're throwing stuff out your car window, I don't know if that's considered a moving violation.
If I were a passenger in a car in Ohio, because you just said they have to have reasonable suspicion.
In Ohio, you're too old for that. We're too old for that. Sorry, guys.
No, if I were a passenger in a car, I would definitely ask the police officer if they had reasonable articulable suspicion that I'm committing a crime. If they say no, then I'm not going to be answering any further questions and identifying myself.
What if you said your eyes look a little red?
I'm still not going to be answering questions because I'm not committing any crimes. My eyes being red could be from various other reasons other than cannabis.
Yeah, cops are not good at investigating things, so I won't be talking to them either. If they think I've done something wrong, we can go somewhere where somebody with a level head can help clear it up, but you're not going to get anything done with a cop. Once he decides you're guilty of a thing, you're not going to talk him out of it. They're not that smart. They don't reason with you. They know they have some tools on their belt, like guns and handcuffs and things, and that's what they know how to use, and they don't really think much past that.
Of course not. They want to make sure they're
it's not their job. This is the court's job to decide if you should be prosecuted or not. It's the DA's job. My job is just to get you into the box.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the pigs for you.
Yeah, well, people got to start holding them accountable for putting you in the box without proper justification.
They're not going to hold the pigs accountable, dude. They're going to be like, oh, the government should hold them accountable, but they're not going to do that.
The individual needs to.
I agree.
There are a couple of things that you can do, which, I mean, they'll seem mostly as annoyances, but if everybody starts doing them,
that was my problem with the George Floyd thing, because when I first heard about it, and it was like, oh, we should talk about how much, like, it wasn't police brutality was like a thing, but it wasn't as talked about in all over until George Floyd. I feel like in 2020 that really like blew the can open. Maybe it was because of the lockdown or something happened, but it was like, oh, okay, we're finally going to talk about this cop problem that we seem to be having. And then instead of talking about any of that, we just attacked a bunch of Nike stores and tore stuff up, and nothing really changed. Does that make sense? Like there was a huge fit thrown, and then none of the energy was put towards the actual problem. It was just put into stealing stuff and causing havoc. I don't know if the system did that on purpose to obfuscate the energy of that. But right at the beginning of it, I was like, oh yeah, maybe we'll actually get a chance to sit down and talk about this like civilized people for once. And then, hey, maybe we should like have some accountability for police officers who are breaking the law and violating the Constitution with their actions. And instead of, that's not what we got at all. That's not what happened. We just turned it into like parades with mostly peaceful looting at night.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was just like, why? So like the individual, we tried. It just got derailed. Like every other time the individuals get together, or in like a populist way, it gets hijacked and money pumped into it until it's a grotesque shell of what it was supposed to be.
Oh yeah, you can't do it as a group. You just got to do it yourself. Anytime you form a group, this is I forgot where Ernest Hancock got it, but I got it from Ernest Hancock. Anytime you form a group, eventually at some point the the group's survival becomes more important than the reason that you formed the group in the first place. Every group will get hijacked. So so do it yourself is the idea there. Back to the article. The bill also broadens the definition of interference with an officer under Ohio's Motor Vehicle Code, raising the penalty from a minor misdemeanor to a second-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a $750
what is it? Bothering a police officer is now a crime?
Yeah, interference with an officer.
Oh my God.
What does that mean?
I know. What
you
does
cut
that
him
mean?
off?
Interference.
Yeah, you cut him. You interfered with his ability to get to his next donut stop. What does that mean?
Yes, that. You were...
Old lady, you're taking too long to cross the street. I got to get to this donut store. I'm going to have to take you in.
You're interfering
But we're
with
stopping at
police
the donut.
business.
We're stopping at Dunkin' on the way. I need a fix.
Yep. You were stopped in the right lane when I wanted to turn right, and you were going forward, and you caused me some delay. Therefore, interference with an officer, second-degree misdemeanor.
Isn't that crazy that he gets to decide he's the ref and the opposing player at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of feels like in his favor, in the officer's favor. It's kind of ridiculous. Oh, I'm calling you for interference on me.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
That's a good analogy. Like taking a player off the opposing team's bench and giving him the whistle and the flag.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Throughout the legislative process, critics of the bill argued that the more severe penalties were disproportionate to the scope of the offenses.
I wonder if somebody's going to sue on is that the Fourth Amendment or the Fifth Amendment? No cruel and unusual punishment.
I don't know.
I can't remember which amendment it is.
It's one of the first 10. It's one of the important ones. Okay.
They started getting into the amendments, and I was like, you guys realize that you had to put these here because of all that horrible stuff you just got done saying in the Constitution part, right? This is a good idea? All right.
What was the only way it was going to get ratified was if they added all those amendments.
Yeah, and Benjamin Franklin's comment about a republic, madam, if you can keep it.
I almost feel like I was thinking about that quote earlier this week, and I was like, man, depending on the delivery and how deep Benjamin Franklin was in like masonry and like all the other crazy stuff, I almost feel like he said to that person, a republic, if you can keep it. Like,
yeah, but you're never going to.
Yeah, no, like the whole idea was like, you know what, Mr. Burns,
that won't
like,
happen.
Yeah. If you
we know that the central
if
bankers
you can
are coming
keep it,
in.
like, you know, here's a chance. Yeah, I just, here's a shred of hope, lady. And then he went and did whatever in some grotto in England.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin was an extremely shady character. He was triple agent. He was working for America, Britain, and France. And he embezzled.
He was the head of like 3 French Masonic lodges, 3 different ones.
They find skeletons in his basement or something too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of his sciencey stuff, I bet he was doing like crazy human experimentation.
Yeah, there's a bunch of weird stuff. You start looking into that guy.
Wow.
I even heard one time that somebody's theory that he opened a portal to another dimension. That's, like the Keystone State is Pennsylvania, right? So he apparently opened a gateway to another dimension, and that's when the technology flood started. Because it was all coming through this portal.
Huh.
They do credit Ben Franklin for flying that kite and getting electrocuted with the key.
Yeah, maybe that's their...
I wonder what the real story behind that is.
Maybe that's their esoteric explanation or exoteric, story that they wrote for the esoteric actual happenings or something.
Because,
There's a bunch of weird stuff surrounding it, too. The Masonic Hall in Pennsylvania is real freaking weird in Philadelphia there.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't.
But I wouldn't be surprised.
I
wouldn't be surprised.
Pretty weird things about it. Of course, the Mormon temple in Salt Lake is also really weird. It's got sun symbolism on it. It's got astrological stuff. It's pretty weird, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of symbolism on various religious buildings everywhere in the world, too.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost like they share some kind of secret knowledge.
I know.
This expansive broadening means that interference with an officer during enforcement of even a minor or routine non-moving violation, such as a faulty tail light or lapsed registration, could now trigger a serious obstruction charge. Triggered, wrote Zachary Miller, a legislative officer for the Office of the Ohio Public Defender, in opponent testimony.
The mafia is all in bed with each other. We all knew it.
So this is the guy that's in opposition to it, and he's just saying, well, this is what it's going to do. He's not actually opposing anything. He works for the same guys.
Yeah.
Supporters, meanwhile, said it provides a necessary framework for law enforcement to follow during traffic stops. Oh, that's good. This targeted change, accompanied by an appropriate penalty, will help encourage drivers and occupants to be voluntary partners in public safety. Better sheep, wrote Colonel Charles A. Jones of the State Highway Patrol in proponent testimony. Ohio courts have repeatedly found that refusing to identify oneself during a traffic stop does not constitute obstructing official business. The charge officers have typically relied on in those situations. Why do they even need you to identify yourself?
Because they just want something. They just want to beat you over the head with something.
They can do their job without knowing who I am.
I know.
Do your job, man. What are you, incompetent? You need me to do your job for you?
No, they want to see if you have a warrant and see if they get a pat on the back when they get back to the office.
Figure it out yourself, dude. I'm not doing your job for you. In Toledo v. Dandridge, the 6th District Court of Appeals ruled in 2013 that a driver's refusal to provide a name or driver's license was not obstruction because it was not an affirmative act. Similarly, the 8th District reached the same conclusion in State v. Ellis in 2020, overturning a conviction where the defendant merely refused to cooperate with fingerprinting.
Oh, okay. So somebody found some loopholes and the state was like, no more. We gotta cap that right now. Here's a way that we can put a boot on your neck and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It sure sounds that way.
Well, you guys are acting within your rights here. Let's just change these words around on a piece of paper. Boom. Now you're...
It's almost like they believe that your rights come from them.
Most people do, I think, in America.
I think that's because they've been done a horrible disservice.
They've been brainwashed by the system to believe that their rights originate from the government and government gets to guard or take away rights. But your rights are inherent.
Yeah, they're inherent, and that's the thing that really pushed me over the edge. Just from like a logical point in my own brain, like, okay, if they don't come from the government or other people, and they come from something outside of my control, well, then that thing is God.
Yeah.
Right. Then there has to be something. If it's given to me without, any outside input from anywhere else, and they just exist. And then that has to be a creator, right? That has to be bestowed upon me. I have to be given these things from an outside source that they can't be taken away from me. Just in an argumentative point. Like if I'm arguing with this in my own head, if that makes any sense. And I'm just like, a God, there has to be, if I'm going to have inherent rights, then there has to be somewhere those inherent rights come from, right? Because nothing comes from nothing, right? You can't have something coming from nothing. There has to be a something coming from something.
Kind of, but not so much as in like an intelligent designer. Just that, well,
then what orchestrates what outlines those rights?
Humans' capacity to
understand them. Well, then doesn't the government technically have the human capacity to strip me of them because they have more guns and power? If these people don't even understand their rights, then do they have them?
No, because this is just ideas. You can't be stripped of your ideas. I guess you could by force. I think they can erase memories now. So, they can. It doesn't mean that it's right, though, right? So this is a conceptual thing. It's just right versus wrong.
So, but if my right if the right isn't coming from somewhere, then it just does the right just exist forever? Is there's always just been the idea of right, and that's been a constant forever thing?
I don't know. I don't look at it that way. To me, your rights are just actions you might take, which aren't wrong. There's any action you might want, like anything you might want to do, as long as it doesn't mess someone else up. You have the right to do that. That's a right action. Make sense?
Yeah, I can see that. But okay, a right action, that's subjective then.
No, it's not. It's objective because there's a clear distinction there that if it messes somebody else up.
Well, that's that whole idea of messing somebody else up. What does that entail? Like, at what point?
So you can see there that there's an
like,
inherent
could you
necessity
emotionally
to
mess
have-
somebody up by calling them a loser? What if they're a loser and nobody's taking the time to just let them know? You know, maybe somebody, like, some dudes really just need to sit down and be like, "Hey, bro, you're kind of like loser. You're kind of
You gotta
loser.
grow up, man.
Yeah, you got to do something different. I love you enough to call you a loser. Like, is that? I mean, I've just insulted the guy, but is that not a right action? Is that not going to mess him up maybe a little bit emotionally? He could spiral from that, or he could get better. That'd be his choice, but I could potentially mess him up with my words. So is that like right action? I'm just trying to, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to, I just like to talk these things out, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of rationality. It's a matter of running things through your detector of logic and emotion. So if it checks out emotionally and logically that you call the guy a loser, then yes, it's the right thing to do.
Well, if it checks out emotionally and logically for me to sell out my Jewish neighbors so the Nazis don't care about my color TV, and then it doesn't.
No, you've done your logic or your emotion wrong if you come to that conclusion.
Well, if somebody, I mean, there's narcissists everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you're the most important thing in your life, which you technically have the right to do, I mean, you didn't really take any like wrong action. And you just said, yeah, they live over there. Right. I don't know. I'm just saying people justify everything. And they point to logic and emotion, stability to justify it. I just think that's like such a gray area that anybody could argue anything from that point. Especially when emotions are involved.
I mean, you can try, but there's, it's not that hard to figure out. I don't know why this needs to be complicated at all. It's not that hard to figure out which of your actions mess people up and which ones don't. I don't see why this is a confusing
Well, I just
topic.
mean, I'm just saying, like, I think mess people up is like, anything could mess people up. I think, do you just not do anything?
Well, no, in the course of living your life, some of your actions are going to mess people up. And then you have a responsibility to try to make it right. Or at least be like, hey, can I, is there a way I can still do my thing and not mess you up? Can we work together on it? You know what I mean? Like, you have an obligation to not mess people up.
Okay, I could. Okay, and if you do mess people up, then you have a duty. So right, okay, that comes. I'm saying, all right, the responsibility, the right to the responsibility. I guess if that makes any sense. Like, you have all of these rights, but then where does your responsibility back to your fellow man pick up when you're about to mess them up? Is that the line?
I think I understand your question, and that's probably that's where I would put the line. If I'm doing anything that doesn't mess other people up.
No, I argue with myself over these things all the time.
No, it's good. That's how we learn dialectic, and that's how we come to find out the flaws in our thinking. Give us a call. The phone number here is 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. At least 12 people have died in a wildfire in southern Spain. It comes as Europe's in the midst of another heatwave, after the continent recorded its hottest June on record. Europe's believed to be warming faster than any other continent on the planet. Here's European Commission spokesperson Paula Pinho.
This sad and horrible news about wildfires which are spreading across various countries in Europe are just a confirmation that unfortunately climate change is a reality and brings and has a cost even to lives. And President von der Leyen also reiterates that, of course, we stand with Spain, we stand with all the brave firefighters who are putting their lives at risk, and with all the first-hand helpers dealing with these emergencies.
Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US, after President Donald Trump declared the truce over while attending the NATO summit in Turkey this week. But he then appeared to soften his stance, saying he would allow negotiations to continue. The contradictory signals from the White House have left mediators uncertain about America's position. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
On the one hand, you had Donald Trump declaring the ceasefire was over, but also saying that he thinks talks could continue, saying that the US should finish the job, but he doesn't want to return to all-out war. And it's hard to know if this is part of his negotiating tactic to kind of put extra pressure on Tehran, or whether it is just genuinely him being frustrated one minute and then changing his mind the next.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese have signed a landmark uranium supply agreement in Melbourne, enabling Australian exports to fuel India's civilian nuclear program. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
The headline has certainly been the uranium supply deal. This is something that's been in the works for more than 10 years now. And this is crucial for India because just last year in 2025, the Indian government set itself a very ambitious target of producing 100 gigawatts of clean energy using nuclear fuel. And this comes at a time when India has been pivoting hard towards sources of energy which are non-polluting, as it wants to decarbonize its industry, its power sector massively. And this is going to be hugely helpful for India, which wants to produce electricity using nuclear energy.
And the EU's threatened to fine Meta over what it says is the addictive design of its social media platforms. Meta now has the chance to respond to this preliminary investigation from the European Commission. The parent company of Facebook and Instagram says it disagrees with the findings. From bureaus worldwide, this.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio you control. You can get your thoughts on the air in this final segment of the show. The phone number is 603-283-6160. In the studio tonight, it's Stu,
Riley O'Bell,
and Angelo.
Is Mitch McConnell still alive or is he dead?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's why I'm asking.
So this is the thing I've heard about, and I've not looked into it at all. Let's see. I got a Oh, man. I got a paywalled article here. Oh, no. It looks like it'll let me read it, maybe. McConnell neighbor reveals alarming scene days before 911 call. What is... Days before Mitch McConnell was rushed to a hospital, one of his neighbors saw him in a troubling scene. The 84-year-old senator's... He's 84 years old and still has a job in government.
I mean, how old is our... Trump's like 90 right now, 89?
Man, there needs to be an age limit on government jobs.
I hear you. I think Trump's like 80 this year.
Oh, is it 80? I thought it was... well, 1948, right?
The 84-year-old senator's neighbor in Washington, D.C. have revealed disturbing details on the Kentucky Republican's mysterious health crisis, which has been going on for nearly a month now, with scant updates from his team. A male neighbor told the Daily Mail that McConnell appeared to be in a bad shape even before June 14th, when he was found unconscious at home and taken to a hospital. Days before that, the neighbor said he witnessed McConnell slumped in a wheelchair while getting carried by staff. I was able to get a good look at his face, the man said. He was pale, with a blank stare, and his mouth was hanging open. Another neighbor...
Oh, you mean half of Congress?
Right? Like,
most of them?
That's what he looks like at a press release and everything else, too. So, another neighbor, a woman who lives on McConnell's block, told the Mail that she saw him get carried into an ambulance on June 14th while his staffers appeared obviously distraught and crying. When he came out, I actually wondered if he was dead. He did not look good. He was not conscious. His eyes were closed. He had oxygen tubes strapped to his nose, she said. I knew by his aides running in and out that it was something serious, she went on. There weren't a lot of sirens. That was the thing that was interesting. The woman said she witnessed 2 police officers carrying medical packs rush into McConnell's home, adding that a police vehicle is pretty well always parked down the street when the senator is in town.
So is this his home in Kentucky? Or is this his home in D.C.?
Sounds like it's in D.C.
Okay.
Other neighbors told the Mail that they were stunned that McConnell had insisted on remaining in office. God bless them, one neighbor who watched the stretcher go by said of McConnell and his team. I would have retired, but for them, this is their life. They don't know anything else.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem.
I know, that's a really bad part of the problem.
He just said the quiet part out loud. Is that they're career politicians. They don't know anything else.
Nor are they capable of anything else.
Why am I leaving my the people making the decisions haven't experienced real life? They know nothing else except this political game. They've never experienced...
It's rather disgusting that we have this going on in our world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
McConnell may have suffered a heart attack, according to an emergency personnel call first obtained by independent journalist Desiree Townsend. The June 14th call detailed an emergency dispatch to McConnell's residence, where first responders were told of CPR in progress due to cardiac arrest. But there have been few updates on his health since then, prompting growing concern and impatience from the public and his colleagues alike.
Thomas Massey could do the funniest thing right now.
What's that?
Well, if Mitch McConnell does die, you could just write in Massey for senator.
There you go.
Oh yeah, Massey's the almost decent sounding one that just got
steamrolled. Yes,
he just got kicked out by the Israel lobby.
Yes.
On July 2, McConnell's team said in a statement that Senator McConnell appreciates the outpouring of support he's receiving while he continues his recovery in the hospital. The senator continues to improve and is working closely with his staff on Kentucky and Senate matters while the Senate is out of session. McConnell's team continues to be tight-lipped about his health, drawing accusations of a cover-up from within MAGA world. MAGA world is a thing now. Huh? The senator's staff is led by his longtime camera-shy aide, Terry Carmack, who is on track to earn more than $226,000 this year.
So wait, he's making more as McConnell's top aide than McConnell does as a senator? What's the base pay for them? Isn't it like $175K or something?
Well, that's probably because they don't get, the insider trading benefits that a senator gets, right?
What do you think if I was a career politician? I'm not saying I ever would be, but if I was insider trading to that level, I'm letting my boys eat because they're too close to me. Like I can't be the one making all the money, man.
That's how
not.
You get kicked out of the pump and dump group, though, is by sharing it with your aides.
Oh man! But then what do my aides have to? I guess you just have to pay them enough to
$226,000.
That makes sense.
It's just a cover up on top of a cover up, and that's why nobody trusts what's going on in Washington. This whole thing is a farce.
That's why it's called the District of Criminals, ladies and gentlemen.
Tennessee Rep Tim Burchett said on Friday. South Carolina firebrand Nancy Mace, meanwhile, has called on McConnell to step down. If McConnell is in as bad shape as Biden ever was, or worse, he needs to step aside. This charade can't continue, Mace wrote on X.
Hey, at least they're willing to stick, principled. I hate to say the word principled Republicans, but at least they're like, hey, if you're too old to do the job, man, you got to get out. Like we said it about Biden, we'll say it about you. Like you're our friend, quote unquote, but if it's time to hang the saddle up, just hang it up, man. Go retire, be with your grandkids. What are you doing? Right? Like go spend time with your family. You're going to die in office. You're going to spend the last moments of your life. All this time you've spent making all this money and having this family, they probably hate him anyways.
Oh, I'm sure.
But what are you doing? Isn't that the whole point of doing the family thing? Is so you can retire and go hang out with your grandkids and take them fishing and give them the facts of life while they sit on your knee, right? Like being a grandpa is what did you do this for? What right?
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I don't.
Right now, we're going to go to the phones. We've got a caller from Charlotte, North Carolina. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind? Hello? Yeah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Don't try to pretend.
Do you have something to say?
Don't try to pretend that rights are somewhat derived from any logic or evidence. Stu.
Don't try to pretend, okay. I'm not trying to pretend anything.
So where are rights derived from?
They're just inherent. From nature.
I can't hear you, so let me call back.
Maybe. I might answer your call. I might not. Cordiality will get you far in this world.
It sure will.
Be willing to have a decent conversation with somebody about this, but
Riley jinxed us.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. You can't hear us, so we don't have to deal with him.
Thanks for the call, Skeeter.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Thanks for ending your own call. That was easy.
That was new. That was a new development for me. I've never seen Skeeter hang up on himself. It's always been Bonnie.
I got this other one from Activist Post. We probably won't get all the way through it, but it's an interesting thing to me anyways. This is from Freddie Ponton at 21st Century Wire, the board that wanted a country. The private colonial administrative board that claims authority over Gaza's future banks with J.P. Morgan and whose architect, Tony Blair, refuses to explain. This investigation...
Isn't Tony Blair the British guy?
Yeah, he was the former Prime Minister of Great Britain.
Mm-hmm. This investigation is about a body whose legal personality remains contested, whose accountability framework remains opaque, and whose money has been routed through a private J.P. Morgan Chase account outside the official World Bank Fund created for Gaza reconstruction. The Board of Peace was announced by Donald Trump in January 2026 as the vehicle for Gaza's post-war governance and reconstruction, with Trump as chair and Tony Blair among its founding executive members. What emerges from official filings, leaked governance drafts, congressional hearing records, financial reporting, and testimony from former insiders is not simply a reconstruction body, but an attempt to privatize the governance architecture of Gaza's future.
I know what Gaza's future is.
Desert?
No, golf courses.
Oh.
It's going to be beautiful. You should invest. I'm not kidding. There's no stopping this. That Gaza's been flattened. It is now rubble. The only thing to do
also
is
bearded belly dancer ladies or something.
Oh, is there?
Have you seen the Trump Gaza #1 video?
No.
Oh, look it up. It is disturbing.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I know, I'm sorry for the people of Gaza, but they're cooked. They're cooked. The hotels and the resorts are going to be built.
Yeah.
So, like, you as an American, I throw some money behind it, dude. It's going to be built no matter what, and it's going to make a lot of money.
I will not invest in that. Thank you very much. The timing of this story is critical because the contracts have not yet been awarded. The official World Bank Fund has received no donor money, and several of the people involved in designing or executing the system sit at the intersection of government, finance, technology, Gulf capital, and post-war reconstruction planning. The name Board of Peace, which I think is hilarious because...
I think Board of Peace, yeah.
Because
they are Board of Peace, I think.
Yeah.
It feels like they're pretty bored with peace.
Sounds like
they want war.
Like. The name Board of Peace does not necessarily refer to some peace mechanism. The entity will be best characterized as a financial, legal, and political architecture for governing 2.3 million Palestinians through a structure Palestinians did not elect, that member state parliaments did not ratify, and that no court or auditor has yet clearly shown it can compel. The piece that sparked this investigation was published by Follow the Money, which reported that Tony Blair had become Trump's Gaza salesman in Europe, using his institute and his contacts to lobby European policymakers into joining the Board of Peace. That reporting was important, but the framing understates the story. Blair is not merely the salesman, he is one of the architects of the governance model that European officials were later asked to legitimize. According to reporting cited by IRIS, Blair sat down in Abu Dhabi in late 2023 with Jared Kushner, Israeli Minister Ron Dermer, and Mohammed Dalan, the UAE-backed Palestinian exile, long discussed as a possible post-Hamas power broker. Over the following months, Blair's circle developed a governance proposal known as the Gaza International Transition Authority, or GITA. On September 17, 2025, the Times of Israel reported that the proposal would seek a UN mandate to act as Gaza's supreme political and legal authority during a transitional period. 12 days later, Trump's 20-point plan stated that Gaza would be governed by a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee.
A technocratic. Apolitical.
Yeah.
Oh my, horrifying sentence, dude. What?
Under the supervision of a new international body chaired by Trump and including Blair. That is enough to say the Trump plan closely echoed Blair's architecture. It is not enough on the present public record to say the language was copied almost word for word. The Follow the Money investigation that first reported Blair's European lobbying is solid work, but it leaves open the deeper question. What exactly was the Tony Blair Institute building before it began selling the Board of Peace to Europe? Internal documents obtained by Follow the Money and shared with Democracy for Sale and Lighthouse reports show that TBI representatives told the European Commission that the EU should not be shy about playing a role in Gaza and that the EU had leverage and money. A TBI spokesperson denied that this was lobbying, saying that the meeting was a conversation about Gaza, Trump's peace plan, and TBI's work to support the new government in Gaza.
This place better have an insane back nine, or I'm going to be upset.
The financial structure makes the design clearest. When the Board of Peace was formalized through Resolution 2803, the World Bank created the Gaza Reconstruction and Development Financial Intermediary Fund, known as the GRAD Fund. Carnegie later described the World Bank's role of that as that of a limited trustee, with no responsibility or accountability, fiduciary or otherwise, once funds were transferred onward to the Board of Peace. That is not normal oversight. It is institutional legitimacy attached to a legal firewall. The World Bank lends its name to a reconstruction mechanism, but the Board of Peace controls how money is used after transfer, while the bank's own role is limited by design.
Okay, if the World Bank's mad, I don't care. I don't care. Do what you want.
No, they're not mad. They're adding legitimacy to the thing.
I thought the whole point. I thought that Trump was blocking.
They don't want control over it because then they'd be responsible for all. You know what I mean?
So they don't want. But
the Board of Peace can just say we have legal immunity for anything we might do in Palestine. So here we go.
Well, not like international courts had much teeth behind them to begin with, but all right.
AJ Benga sits at the center of this conflict. His official World Bank biography confirms he is president of the World Bank Group, and contemporary reporting confirms he was previously CEO of MasterCard. In January 2026, the White House and subsequent coverage listed Benga among the founding executive board members of the Board of Peace. Civil society groups have since demanded that the World Bank withdraw from the Board of Peace and terminate the Grad Fund, warning that the arrangement risks legitimizing an imposed reconstruction framework that excludes Palestinian self-determination. Benga has defended the World Bank's role as that of a limited trustee, saying the Board of Peace would decide how money is used on the ground. That leaves him in an extraordinary dual position: president of the institution administering the official fund, and a member of the board that may ultimately direct the reconstruction architecture.
I don't even think this is new.
Oh, yeah, double dipping is the name of the game.
Yeah, this sounds like what happens at every
every
nonprofit I've ever heard of, right? Like somebody
NGOs.
on the board is connected to the person who funded the NGO to begin with, and they sell it to you as it's extra oversight because the guy who gave us the money is actually going to be in charge of it too. But now it's bad. But when the NGO does it, it's good. But now it's bad because Trump did it. Whatever,
well,
dude.
no, because Trump's doing it with his own NGO, so now it's okay too.
Oh, okay.
That's just an NGO. It's not an actual government thing.
Oh,
This
I got
Board
it.
of Peace, it's just an NGO, which he declared himself lifetime chairman of, and has the sole right to appoint his successor.
Wow.
Par for the course. I mean, what are we complaining about? This isn't new. I don't know. They're just making it news because it's Trump. You know, this is kind of what I'm saying. It's like this isn't news. This isn't not a new thing. This isn't original. This isn't something we haven't seen before. And
Nope,
it's
but it
the
is.
same as it always been. I bet Obama's probably tied to some ridiculousness too, but it's in
And Biden
Chicago and not
Bush.
Gaza.
Yeah.
Yeah. The board's legal status remains one of the central unresolved questions. Resolution 2803 welcomed the Board of Peace and endorsed the Gaza framework, but congressional reporting shows U.S. lawmakers still lacked clarity on what legal framework applied to the body. NBC reported that the board's charter gave the organization a broad mandate and raised questions about member state commitments and legal structure. Times of Israel published the full board charter, which shows the formal structure through which Trump chairs the organization. The point is not that the board has no documents, is that none of these documents clearly answer who can sue it, audit it, discipline it, or compel disclosure. International legal analysis has questioned the board's personality and accountability structure, with opinio jurist describing the charter as creating a dubious legal personality. Carnegie has warned that Resolution 2803 elevates a U.S.-Israeli governance framework while leaving Palestinian self-determination structurally subordinated.
Yes, because Carnegie's not named after one of the most ruthless.
Carnegie's brutal.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I'm not super trustworthy of just the mainstream media anymore. It's just, it's all sensationalized. They point the finger at each other, right? What's that old saying? You point one finger out, but there's four more pointing back at you, or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
Three more pointing back at you, and it's just that forever.
Yep.
But it's part of the issue with the two-party system we're at. We'll just point fingers and accuse each other of doing nefarious things while everyone's doing it at the same time. And we'll just keep pointing and yelling, and we'll keep making money on the back end.
Absolutely. The routing question begins with the officials publicly assigned to execute the board's mandate. On January 15th, 2026, the White House appointed Aria Lightstone and Josh Grunbaum as senior advisors to the Board of Peace, saying they were charged with leading day-to-day strategy and operations and translating the board's mandate into disciplined execution. Lightstone is especially relevant to donor diplomacy. Middle East Eye reported that he traveled to Saudi Arabia in April 2026 to press Riyadh over its unpaid $1 billion pledge to the Board of Peace. That does not prove Lightstone instructed UAE or Moroccan officials to use J.P. Morgan. It does make him a necessary person to question about donor routing. The same is true of Greenbaum, whose documented role places him inside the operational side of the board, even if several claims previously made about him must be corrected. Greenbaum's background makes the operational side worth investigating, but the record has to be stated carefully. The White House appointed him as a senior advisor charged with day-to-day strategy and operations for the Board of Peace. The Wall Street Journal reported that he moved temporarily to Israel to join U.S. team planning Gaza's post-ceasefire administration while still serving as commissioner of the Federal Acquisition Service. Al Jazeera later described him as working under U.S. envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff on the Gaza stabilization force track.
I mean, that just sounds like here's the people that are doing the funny money stuff, like something's going to be done about it. I mean, Lightstone's a sick name. That's what I took from that. Is that, I mean, Lightstone's a pretty wicked. Greenbaum is like, I could find 30 Greenbaum. I could throw a stone in New Jersey and find 30 Greenbaums next to it.
They like Lightstone?
Lightstone's a sick. That's almost Skywalker.
Yeah.
And to get a name like that just out of like the lottery, you know what I mean? You get born Lightstone and you decide to work for some of the most evil people on the planet. I mean, whatever, but whatever. That's
it's
fine.
Money, bro.
That's fine. But sick name, dude. Yeah, for sure. Jealous of your kids. Jealous. Yeah, Lightstone, dude. Yeah, Alex Lightstone sounds like something out of a story. That's not even a real name.
What cannot be said on the current public record is that Greenbaum co-drafted Resolution 2803, authored the Reconstruction Plan, designed the J.P. Morgan account, or wrote Section 8.2. Resolution 2803 was a U.S. drafted Security Council resolution, but no public source names Greenbaum as one of its drafters. The correction matters because the story is strong enough without assigning individual authorship where the evidence does not yet support it. David in New Mexico is called in, so we're going to take his call. Yeah, we got enough time to talk to David. David, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Man, how's things going around Peyton Place?
Around what?
Where you guys are at, Peyton Place.
I don't know what you're saying, but things are fine around here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You never heard of Peyton Place?
No.
Oh, you have to check it out. All kinds of affairs and murders and stuff like that go on around Peyton Place. It's a TV show, movie, book.
I don't know, man.
Oh man, you ran out of time.
Yeah,
I know,
Sorry,
right?
David.
But I mean, you just called in too. But there will be a show tomorrow night. Thanks for the call tonight, David. This has been Free Talk Live. You can call as David did and get on the air, but not tonight. You'll have to call tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Peace.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Coming up next after the news, Hour 1 of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, here at listen.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. At least 12 people have died in a wildfire in southern Spain. It comes as Europe's in the midst of another heatwave, after the continent recorded its hottest June on record. Europe's believed to be warming faster than any other continent on the planet. Here's European Commission spokesperson Paula Pinho.
This sad and horrible news about wildfires which are spreading across various countries in Europe are just a confirmation that, unfortunately, climate change is a reality and brings and has a cost even to lives. And President von der Leyen also reiterates that, of course, we stand with Spain, we stand with all the brave firefighters who are putting their lives at risk, and with all the first-hand helpers dealing with these emergencies.
Uncertainty continues to linger over a peace deal between Iran and the US, after President Donald Trump declared the truce over while attending the NATO summit in Turkey this week. But he then appeared to soften his stance, saying he would allow negotiations to continue. The contradictory signals from the White House have left mediators uncertain about America's position. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
On the one hand, you had Donald Trump declaring the ceasefire was over, but also saying that he thinks talks could continue, saying that the US should finish the job, but he doesn't want to return to all-out war. And it's hard to know if this is part of his negotiating tactic to kind of put extra pressure on Tehran, or whether it is just genuinely him being frustrated one minute and then changing his mind the next.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese have signed a landmark uranium supply agreement in Melbourne, enabling Australian exports to fuel India's civilian